assets and stuff that I made. I felt
Yeah, they look real
I
good.
felt incredibly productive yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. Excuse me.
Very, very cool.
How are you doing, Grant?
I am sore. I hurt.
Working out?
Yeah.
Yeah, high intensity training will do that. It makes
Yeah.
sense.
He like solely focused on like lower body, specifically thighs yesterday, which obviously take a lot of energy because it's a very big muscle.
Yeah.
And so I'm very tired today.
All right, well,
It is what it is.
yeah, that's kind of just how working out is. So it's not really any comments for that.
Yeah. But you know what? It's I'm doing something, and that's better than just nothing like I was used to, I guess.
Yeah, I really want to get back to. I know I illustrated this issue back when I was still doing Ring Fit, but I really do want to get back to Ring Fit because it's actually fun. But the problem is that playing it gets me all sweaty, and it's like, okay, well, I should take a shower after that, but I already take 2 showers a day. So it's like, okay, that means I have to either work out first thing in the morning or right before I take
You
my
take your
shower
second
in the
shower.
evening, which isn't necessarily a problem because that's what I was doing previously was I was taking it
Right.
before the evening, but that's usually when I eat. Like that's when I would eat dinner. So it's like, okay, well now I got to eat dinner before I work out because if I work out, I don't want to be sweaty while I'm making/eating food, which now means I'm eating way earlier than I normally would. And then after I'm done eating, I was getting all lethargic and being like, "Oh, I don't want to do this." And so it's like, because I don't know. Like there were a few times where it was just where back when I was doing Ring Fit, I was just like, "Fuck it," and I would just like work out at like 11, and it was awesome. It was sick. But then I was all sweaty, and I was like, "Well, can I just take a quick shower?" And it was like, "Nah, I already take 2 showers a day. Shouldn't really do that."
Fair.
Uh. I mean, it is 7. I guess we can just start going. Hopefully, people will show up.
Sure.
Okay. So we'll start with just a wee bit. I'll give a wee bit of intro as to like what this game is, and then we can get into banter topics and stuff.
Okay.
So this game is a Zachtronics game. You've probably heard me talk about them before. Normally,
Yep.
the Zachtronics games are they're essentially just like recursive programming games, if that makes sense. You start a level with an objective and certain restrictions, and you have to figure out a way of making an automated system to solve that issue for you. Under most circumstances, this is like fake lines of code or like conveyor belts that move things through an environment or whatever. This one is my favorite of the Zachtronics games because it is. If I can show you. Oh, open. There we go. We are making automated alchemy tables.
Yo.
Yeah. So the parts of the system that we're making are called regents, right? You can see them here. These things allow you to fuse them. And then this is where we put the commands for the arms. So
Damn. That's
the
pretty
regions
cool.
you may input materials doing alchemy. This is a product. This is the output. To complete the puzzle, build all products. Press the play button below. Oh, is it just doing it on its own? Oh, they already built it. This is just showing it off. Yeah, but see? It's faster.
Ooh. More. More.
There you go. I remember last time I played this, I want to say like most of the way through chapter 4 of 8. And I like stopped, but I still had a really fun time.
Cool.
Place an arm below. You got an arm. I want to extend it to here. Length, then add instructions. The thing, well, I mean, I think that makes sense. What is this? Rotate instruction. Artanes rotate 60 degrees or 1/6 of a thing. So I want that 3 times? Wait, no, I need to grab first. Grab.
Yoink.
Rotate. Rotate.
Rotate.
Rotate. Let go. Is there a
Oh,
return?
then you gotta rotate back.
Yeah, is there a return, or do I just have to keep rotating?
I think you have to rotate.
I guess I just. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see it here, where they rotate one way and then they rotate back.
Yeah.
2, 3, and then that should do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Ah ha ha.
I love the sound too. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like.
Yeah.
All right.
This is very, very neat.
It's like most Zachtronics games I find pretty stressful because it's a lot of
Yeah, it's a lot to manage, right?
it's not necessarily a lot to manage. It's a lot to like remember. But this game is like is like not his. Sorry, it's a whole team. But this one's like the most visual by far of the Zachtronics games.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So for me, it's a lot easier to comprehend, I guess.
Sure.
So that guy is doing that. So we need to. So we're gonna grab. We're gonna rotate this way, but as we're rotating, we're gonna rotate because you could rotate the grabber and not just the arm. So I think this will work. I think we're essentially doing the same thing that he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
same amount of time too.
More.
More. There we go. Oh, I opened it again. My bad.
You.
Oh yeah,
fool.
there's this thing which is
oh
fucking
my
cool.
God.
Yeah. So this is
Whoa.
this is the alchemy diagram.
Lead to tin to iron to copper to silver to gold.
To gold.
Gold.
We eventually get to elemental combinations later, where you can you can put 2 regions on a thing, and then a third spot will spit out whatever they make together. Under most circumstances, it's or no, sorry, you take the element plus salt, and then it makes the other side.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Alchemy.
Here we go. Alchemy. Pistons. Once we get through these tutorials, we should be fine. So pistons are like arms, but they can contract.
Extend.
Yeah, they
Oh.
can extend and contract. Add instructions to make it pick up the region and move it to the output. So this guy goes here. This guy goes here. So we want this guy to grab, rotate once, rotate twice, rotating twice, 1, 2.
Then pull it in.
And then pull it in how many? 1 or 2? I think it's 1.
And then drop it.
And then 1. Oh, do we have where's the drop? Oh, there's a reset instruction.
Oh, loop.
Loop. Oh, and that's what the arrow's for, because that's like the automatic. That's how many commands it would take to make them go back.
Wow.
Let's try that. Yeah.
Oh wait, there we go. We're fine.
Yeah, because they all just need to make sure that they're on the same cycle.
Yeah.
We're obviously skipping over some of the stuff here, but there's like an entire narrative with like characters and shit too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I really like this sort of like fiction where it's like Victorian steampunk London, but with alchemy.
Alchemy.
All right.
I really
Now
like
we're
the background. It's very
of
pretty.
the city. It changes too as you go through the chapters.
Does it? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
It's kind of bonkers, actually.
That is
Alright,
pretty
create a
wild.
track. Boom, boom, boom. So we created a track, and then on the track we could put an arm. Have that arm. You can. I like this one. Like I like how they use this to like showcase some of the weird shit you can do with tracks and stuff.
Just in a fucking hexagon.
So we're gonna do that way, and then.
Hello, Saba.
Hello.
Hello, Saba. So we're gonna extend one. This is just an arm, right? Yeah. So it's not a piston. We're gonna extend one.
Yeah, so we can't zoop.
1, 2. So we need another one. And then we need it to rotate twice, or is it once? It's twice.
Twice, 120 degree, right?
Yeah. Because one would be here, and then 2 would be here. So I think you're right.
Yeah. Okay.
There's that, and then we reset. And look, it's perfect size for the other one.
Let's go. Bam.
Yeah.
Bam. Hey.
And look, I like this.
There's no need for that like that, but
the bottom part, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Looks cool.
On to the next one.
What we got?
Transmutation. All right. So use a piston arm and grab the glyph of calcification. I guess is this?
Sure.
To turn the regent. Oh, this is the glyph of calcification.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the one. A fire atom into a product of salt, and then move it to the product. Okay.
So you have.
So we need a piston, and the piston's gonna start here.
And you got a glyph of clarification.
So if we do this,
just pull it in.
So if we grab, yeah, exactly. If we do that, grab, and then rotate once, and then reset. I think that should be it.
Would you need? Oh yeah, no, you don't need
Ta-da!
to extend it. Hey.
Boom, 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 boom. Don't you feel so smart? Do you feel so smart figuring this out?
This is very. I can like see how this can snowball into.
Hey, guess what, Grant? They don't tell you this for a while, but the map can scroll. So imagine that. All right. Fuse the 2 atoms together. That seems reasonable.
Does it?
So what we need is we need to grab one of you. Which one's 3? 3 needs to rotate this way. You need to rotate this way. Then you need to actually, you can reset. Right? Because that'll be fused. This guy then needs to continue rotating.
And then let go. The reset.
Well, and then he needs to this. And then reset. I think this will work. Yeah.
All right.
So we are 1 turn longer than these guys because these guys don't have to turn. Go. We're almost done with the tutorial stuff. We're stabilizing water. Get hype.
My God.
We have multiple tabs now.
Oh my God.
This is what the game do. No. So this is what we need to produce. We can put it anywhere. We can even rotate it if you want.
Oh, how fancy.
We have 2 regents, as many arms and combinations that we need.
Oh boy.
God, I forgot how much I love this game. It's so cool. All right. So what if we do this?
I'm gonna try and do it all super close, real fast.
I'm thinking about it, right? Because what if we do? No, that doesn't really work. Because I'm thinking, what if we take both of these, fuse them, and then put a glyph right there? Like, what if we grab a piston? Oh.
No, you fool.
I know. I didn't know. Okay. I can kind of still do the same thing. What if I do this? That actually doesn't need to be that doesn't need to be a piston then. That could just be an arm.
Be regular. Yeah.
Be an arm, and then we put a track.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the track.
Yes. You got a track, right? And then with this, put this here, Wait, this also
Can
doesn't
they
need
go
to be.
over each other?
It also doesn't need to be thing. Can they go over each other? I don't think so.
Like on the track?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because what I'm thinking is that we grab. Both of them go 1.
Fuses.
This guy resets
Yes.
immediately. This guy goes 1 more, then another 1, and then what is this?
Reset.
Repeat instructions. Cool. And then reset. What does that look like?
Good work.
Yeah.
Oh.
But now, is there a way to do this more? Oh, my cost was super high. my cycles were low. So all 3 of these are specifically designed to make sure that you can't get all 3.
Oh.
Right?
Makes sense.
So this is online averages from other people.
Hmm. That's neat. I like that.
So these people that had lower cost probably did it with 1 arm without the track, but it cost more cycles. That's probably these people. Right? Then our area is really weird. I guess we could do this in 1 less.
You could record a GIF.
Yeah, I did that a long time ago. I don't have the GIF anymore, but back when I was originally playing this in like 2017, I had 1 level because this game came out in 2017. I had 1 level that I made that was like apparently like among the top on the leaderboard at the time, and I was so impressed with myself because it was like a clever solution to the problem. And so I made a GIF and I posted it on Twitter, and it was my most popular tweet at the time.
Let's go.
All right, cool. So we did that, and we can move on to the next chapter.
So now we're out of the tutorial.
Yeah. Now it's going to be a lot of me quietly contemplating what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing while we banter.
Banter stream.
Banter stream.
Saba, do you have any topics?
Well, I was going to ask
Nope,
Saba how
it's
her day
all
was.
sick. But my day, what have I been
Look
doing?
at this guy.
Nothing much. I had work a little bit, but I just played some games, and now I'm here.
What'd you play?
Genshin. I've been pretty like consistent with it for a little while now. So I play a little bit every day. I am
Okay.
not obsessed, I swear.
I am not obsessed.
I just need to do it every day.
I'm about to say, I definitely
Every
believe you.
day. But dude, this because I get to play Genshin more, I have more stuff to talk about Lawrence with, which is fun.
Why are you talking about Lawrence?
Talking.
I'm joking, I'm
to talk
joking.
about with Lawrence. I'd also thought my sentence was incorrect, but yeah.
Here we go.
Also,
Reminds me-
there's a customizable thing in that game where I can just have a little housey area where I can just throw all the cats and dogs I want in there, so I'm pretty happy.
Oh, you get your own place? I didn't make it
Yeah.
that far. That's cool though.
I'm also a little bit obsessed with customization stuff, like being able to do that, so yeah. Give me what I want, game, I guess. They are doing that
So far.
so far.
Very cool.
Yeah, how about you guys? Zach is thinking, I guess, Grant, you go first.
Okay. I was telling Zach that I am very tired and sore because from working out last night, and because I think I mentioned it, but I have a personal trainer and he focused like all on thighs, and so I'm very sore because it's a big muscle that requires a lot of energy, obviously. So I'm very sore and don't want to move. I'm tired.
I too tried restarting my workout that I normally do, that I think actually works. But sometimes I get like in a tizzy where I end up not doing it for a long time, and then at a certain point I'm like, I'm feeling bad. I should probably start working out again.
What kind do you usually, or what type of workout do you usually go for? Like cardio or
Well, not as
calisthenics?
much. I mean, I have no idea what the terminology is, but it's not as much cardio because it's like I've been like in terms of seeing changes within like my body, like the most I've seen myself change with cardio, it had to do with like hiking. But even then, that's not like fully cardio. That still is a lot of like strength-based training. So I tend to probably like more strength-based training. So like a lot of the stuff I do, it's like using gravity to help like strengthen your muscles.
Sure.
So that's kind of what stuff that I do. So
Very cool.
yup. So Grant worked out. What about you, Zach?
Sorry, I'm making gold. What?
What did you do today
Gold.
besides making gold?
Yes! I am perfectly
Minimal
average.
cycles.
I'm perfectly average, just like everybody else.
Yes.
I could probably edit this a little bit more. Sorry, what was the question? You were asking me what I've done recently?
Today,
What you done today?
What did I do today? I can't remember. I don't really feel like I don't really feel like I did much. What did I do? I swear I did something. I don't know. If I don't remember, it probably wasn't that important.
Well, I mean, yesterday you did an overhaul on all your.
That is
stuff.
true. I did do that, so that was nice. But yeah. There you go. I guess I don't really have anything else. Yeah.
Well, that seems like a very riveting time.
Listen, all right, it's a game making my brain hurty. Give me a minute.
And you're the one with the most topics. This is going to be kind of interesting.
Moves like me. Do you think this thing? Oh, it does cost more. Stop! Everybody, stop the presses.
No.
No,
Stop the matches.
Just pay it with the gold you're making.
well, no, because I don't know if you read the text, but the idea is that we have a limit to how much this can cost because we have to make sure that the gold makes money.
Fair enough.
These are single regions of gold, Grant. We need 100 regions before we can even make a single coin. Don't you even pay attention to the lore?
No.
No, I don't. I love the idea. I love the idea of no, I don't.
No, not at all.
I don't
Not in
think
the
I don't think I
slightest.
need to let go there. Where's Lawrence? I know Adrian is like late on Fridays, but
Yeah, Adrian's busy.
I wonder if Lawrence is also busy. Does he do stuff on Fridays? I don't remember.
I mean, probably. I mean, he usually said he'll be like close to an hour late because I think he just has something scheduled
Did he say
or
that?
like somewhere. But yeah, back when we revamped the schedule, he said, yeah, I'll probably be like 30 minutes to an hour late usually.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's up, Saba?
Listen,
Oh,
give
this
me
is
a
gonna
break.
be such a good stream, yeah. What can I say? Oh, I can talk about how I'm in like a little bit of a frustrating situation with like a commission, like that I got for doing like some art stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was recommended by like someone that I know, and it was for like a design logo that was supposed to be used for like a business and stuff.
Very cool.
And so like it was technically my first time doing a commission, right? But not like doing artwork. So based off of that, and I even told the individual, because we had a middleman, even though I had asked like, shouldn't I like directly talk to the client? And my friend was like, no, you can just go through me. Which this was quite a learning experience of stuff never to do ever again.
That doesn't sound great.
This doesn't sound great. And so, like at a certain point, because this was like my first time, but because I really know the the person, which is like one of my relatives, asked for like their friend or whatever, and I was like, okay. I ended up doing it. I spent like, I would say 8+ hours on this. And I had told them my the rate of pay that I would have done would be like 25.
Okay.
Which, when someone tells you what a rate of pay is, like, what is your understanding, Grant? I'm just
hourly rate.
So an hourly rate. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, and I said I spent 8+ hours on this. So how much do you think it would be? Like,
I mean, 8 times 25 is $200.
few hundred, yeah.
Is that normally how art commissions work, though?
Normally you would put, yeah, for art commissions, I mean, since this was my first one and since this was a relative, I was a little bit like, I'd never done this before. Normally, you would say your flat rate, like, flat up, like, and say, like, this is how much you're giving me, and then I'll do my work. So you get paid first and then you do the work, which is, if I ever get anything like this ever again, that is exactly what I'm doing. But because it was my relative, like, and I had told them the rate of pay, and they said it was fine. Like, the stuff ended up happening, and
Did your relative assume that when you said rate, you meant like they would be charged 25 for the entire art piece?
I'll explain in a little bit what had happened. But I mean, I must say, like, based off of what had happened in terms of like the process, like, I had been given an icon to work with, right? And so they gave me like the basic like composition, and I kind of but they said like each of the elements they wanted changed. So like the composition of the icon at the end was basically relatively the same, but every individual part of the icon was changed by me. And so based off of that, then Grant, wouldn't you say that like a few like 100 to like 200, or like 200, I guess, would be like a reasonable amount to ask for pay?
Yeah, I mean, if you said your rate was $25 and you worked 8 hours on it, then yeah.
Okay, so, and I had talked to Lawrence about this first, so, and that's the number we both came out to, like, what? And so I had sent the middleman, my relative, that number, and I get like an email saying it's like this is outrageous, like, you can't like ask us to pay this much, and like we were told something different. And I looked at it because she also sent me the messages that she received from my relative, and not only did my relative not put the correct number, but she also didn't include the fact that I said that's my rate, even though she had asked me, like, she literally used the terminology, what your rates are. And I in my message I said my rate is this. She didn't say any of that.
Ooh, that is totally on her then.
that is totally on her, but the way the client was kind of talking to me a little bit was, I think, a little bit rude, because I described to you the initial what I received and what the end product was, right, Grant?
Yeah.
Like, all the elements changed except for like the composition. So it's like, let me get my phone so I can kind of read what was told to me, because I'm not happy about this. So let me just go back to my Gmail. Okay,
My Gmail.
my Gmail. Okay, so she first like kind of starts off by saying, well, it's like, well, your relative told me that like this was the amount of money you wanted and that seemed reasonable. And let me tell you, I said a rate of like 25. Like, imagine then like my relative then saying, oh yeah, she just asked for like $35.
For the whole logo.
For the whole thing. And it's just like,
I think that's
what?
ridiculous to ask for.
Yeah, so it's just like, what? I don't get it. And it's like, and then she like proceeds to say like, oh, well, we were under like, you know, the impression this was your first time doing something like this. And I'm like, sure, right? Getting a commission maybe for the first time doesn't mean I'm like a 5th grade like artist. Like doesn't mean I don't have any experience. It's like when I was in Cogswell for the first like year into like 2 years, I had to take art classes because they didn't have writing. So it's like, I know a little bit about art. You can't just because someone's never gotten commissioned before doesn't mean they're incompetent.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. So it's like, blah 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 blah. So then she goes on to say like, well, we gave you like the logo, and we just wanted a few changes with it, and to like she said to put it in perspective, like we paid like a website design team like $500+ for the entire website, and like then goes on to say like you did not design the logo. You just adjusted the position and size of certain elements. And it's like, this section is like the most BS section I've ever heard. It's like, you do understand like how simplistic an icon can be, but also the fact that almost all of the elements she gave me, Grant, that were in the original design, every element was changed by me. Like every element.
Yeah, so they're just straight up wrong.
So they're just straight up wrong. And it's like, it's super hilarious because it's like, she also ends up saying like, in the future, I would recommend you discuss your rate with your clients because I would not have agreed with this. Well, it's like, Well,
then you didn't talk to them. You weren't allowed to talk to them because you did it through a relative. Like,
yeah, I did it through a middleman, and I know I had asked as well which way would be better, which way of communication would be better. So it's like, well, this is the learning experience for me, right? Not that I would ever want to do like a commission, like, and this is different, right? A commission for like an icon, a business icon, is so different than like an art commission for like something more fantasy related. Like I would, not that I would ever get that kind of commission, because like that's
what kind of loser draws fantasy drawings and gets paid for?
clearly
nice cutting
someone
yourself
that's,
off too. That was really funny.
Clearly someone I appreciate more than what this whole thing was. Yeah, and so it's like, if I were to ever do this again, I would say my rate up. And I totally sent her a message, you know, replying and saying like, well, firstly, what my relative sent you is completely wrong. And I had screenshotted my message that I had with my relative, and I sent that to her. Oh, and by the way, do you want to know like the amount? She's like, oh, I'm willing to pay like this much. You want to guess how much it was?
Is it 25?
Just double that number, then yeah.
$50.
Yeah. So it really did frustrate me, and I just like, I was like, I sent her a message. You know, and even Grammarly's like, oh yeah, your overall tone was friendly, and I was like, good, because I'm not. Even though I'm mad, I can't be like aggressive with this.
You gotta be sympathetic to your employer.
You should put a watermark on their logo.
Oh.
And then give it to them, like Shutterstock it.
I have like messaged. It's a lot, so it's just. I've emailed them back and stuff like that, but it's like I did go through like every point they discussed, and I was like, you know, I sent her the correct like message I sent to my relative to be like, yeah, what she told you, that's literally not what I told her, and I said like, just because it is my first time with commission work doesn't mean I don't know how to create art. And then I said everything that I told you guys. It's like, yeah, you did provide me with like the initial design, but every element of that design has been changed besides the composition. And it's like, us talking about the payment, it's like, I get that you think it may be outrageous, but just so you know, the amount that I came up with was also on the advice of someone who does commissions. Like, I'm not a crazy person here. Like, I talked to people who I know have done this before.
Yeah, you didn't just like pull this number out of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't do that. But I was like, I if you want, I can discuss it, but I want to be properly compensated for the amount of time and effort put into the work. And it's like, but ultimately, and I'm like, since I see that there's like a lot of confusion about this and there's like miscommunication, like I just asked it for her if we could meet in the middle, and like I gave like a different price, which is like, it's by a denominator of 2, so it's like balanced in my mind. So I'm hoping, and I haven't even talked to my relative yet since I got this email straight from the client. I'm like, I'm just gonna message them and wait to see if I can get a message back, because at least I can hold my relative accountable, right? It's not like my relative can run away from me.
True.
Not yet.
So not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, you better believe I will fly and kick her. Okay, I'm not gonna cuss. But yeah, so I've had that whole situation. I'm really thankful that like I know people that like helped me like discuss how to like reply. But man, this was so much unnecessary stress.
Seems like
on me, and
it seems very emotionally taxing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad my reply wasn't bad, but oh yeah, emotionally taxing does not. Oh, just cannot describe how bad that was. I was like, I never want to touch anything like this again. But that's also because, right, I didn't really know. So if, let's say, for example, I had a flat rate, right? Someone could have just said, that's too much and I'm not going to pay. And it's like, well, that's the end of our talk then.
Yeah, and then now it's not like this whole thing happening, right?
Yeah, so at least I can say I know better, which, like, if someone were to tell me clearly, I would agree that's what you should do up front. But like, this whole project kind of landed in my lap before I even like knew anything, and I was like, sure, I can do this. And since it was for a relative, right, you would think they're like reliable in the way that like they won't run away or steal the work. So
Yeah.
I guess I have yet to see how this will turn out.
Well, I wish you all the luck, and hopefully they'll realize like the amount of work that was put into it, and that $50 for 8 hours of work is like $6.25.
Well, to be honest too, it's like people creating icons, right? If it was a professional, they might have been able to do it in like 3 to 4 hours, right? But at the same time, a professional would have also charged you like 50 to 100 for each hour.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know. It's like the numbers game is hard. And it's like, I didn't know about any of this stuff before like I started, but I did at the beginning of the whole process say like a rate. I did give a number.
Right.
So to it be like this badly miscommunicated is just frustrating.
Definitely. Like that's bad on your relative's part of just like, yeah, it was $25 for the whole thing. What the fuck?
No, it's funny because that's not even the number. Like she gave
Or 35?
Yeah, she gave a completely different number.
Oh my god, that's just poor communication.
It's like, I don't know how you could be this bad at communicating this, like, especially because it's like I saw that how she messaged back the client, and she's like 335 or like 350, like what does she want? And then my relative replies, oh yeah, just 35. It's like, no, that's not the way this works. Like, do you know anything about getting commissions? Like, do you know anything about it? Because it's like, besides the actual like number payment, like it's especially since it's an icon for a business, right? That's going to be the face of like your business. To give like someone a measly sum of money for something that could be one of the most vital assets of your company is a bit unreasonable. It's like almost illogical. It's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, I've already given a lot of information about this, and I'm already stressing myself out more now, so I'm going to stop unless you have any further questions.
No, but I just wish you good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope it turns out okay. I hope they're reasonable about this.
I have a question. Start the entire thing over again. No.
I know, you came in, yeah, Adrian. You came in like a quarter of the way in.
I feel like I got the context.
Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Who's Tom with the Doge lore. No, the Doge lore. Why?
Boy, howdy, there sure is some strong wind.
Dude, it fucking windy.
Why does that room look like it could have been one of the Cogswell apartments?
Oh my
True.
gosh, I can see that.
If you get rid of like one of the pieces of furniture, then yeah.
I feel like we could have a weird game night there.
Oh, why is it a weird game night?
Because we're all like
Because we're not at
smeared.
anyone. Because we're.
Oh, he disappeared.
I'm about to say that you kind of cut out there, Adrian.
I'm eating, so I might be weird. But I said it'd be weird because we wouldn't be at Zach's apartment.
That's true.
Fair.
We just attend this other like apartment.
Does the story continue? It's another one. So you're telling me up?
Wait, Saba, I don't think you want to say this one aloud.
You're right. I read more of it.
I'll say it.
Go. I gave you the voice, Zach. Go for it.
Saba, read the stuff in the background.
Oh my God. Hold
Oh,
on.
there is
I have
stuff
to,
in the background.
I have
That's
to
so
get
small.
my magnifying glass. Give me a second.
I didn't even see
So-
that in the background.
So you're telling me, so you're telling me, you're on your Discord for some tight poggers bussy, boy. How about you take a break from that darn computer and get busy with this yard work? Tight boggers pussy. What kind of ridiculous shit are you kids talking about nowadays?
That's really funny.
I love r/Doge lore.
I was waiting for right after Zach said that for Saba to read the stuff in the back.
Oh, James! I can't stop the mower! Get out of the way, James! James!
James,
Oh my gosh. That's pretty funny.
I really like I like Saba's delivery of James.
No!
James, why?
Oh, it's funny.
James, for the love of Christ, please.
James, oh fuck, you can't hear us. He's wearing earbuds.
No.
It's really funny. I think that should be a solution. Boom. Look at that. Look how efficient
when-
this is.
You know when lettuce gets old and it starts turning yellow?
Yeah.
Vaguely.
I'm eating some sandwiches. Well, technically a roll, but it's basically sandwiches that have that, and they're just barely turning yellow. So.
Oh no.
Thank you. I feel like I can imagine your food now.
Well, I also have some
Tight
ranch.
boggers pussy.
What's the fucking flavor that everyone likes? The green one, ranch sour cream or something. Is that it?
Sure.
Are we talking about chips now?
There's a
Or is
chip
it-
flavor that's like green and super
Sour
popular.
cream and
Yeah,
onion?
sour
Sour cream and
cream
onion. There you go. It's not ranch. It's sour cream and onion.
I was just like, what?
There you go. That's
Whatever
the flavor.
Adrian did say, that would be a great flavor of chip because it was like,
sour cream and ranch.
well, you said ranch and wait, did you say ranch and sour cream?
I said sour cream and ranch.
I think that'd be a good. I think that'd be a good
I
flavor
think
of
that'd just
chip.
be kind of like a lighter ranch.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, sour. I don't think that's gonna have too much.
Can
impact.
I get any congrats on this? By the way, I did like better than the average.
Let's
Good for you,
go.
Thank you.
It just looks like stonks to me.
Yeah, but I got the low stonk, which means I did better. Oh, Olivia has this game. I didn't even know that.
Is Olivia
Hey.
winning?
Hey, Cheems, you like Huey Lewis in the news?
The early work was a little too new wave for my taste. When sports came out in '83.
Polishing an axe.
Yeah.
The little
That's the
portraiture of this game does
thing.
remind me of Disco Elysium, which is, I think, kind of interesting.
I've never played Disco Elysium, but I know it's good.
Neither have I. I heard- but
Disco
I heard it's
Elysium
good.
was on my radar to play for stream, and I know that I've illustrated previously that Wooly Versus takes probably way too long to actually play games, but they just finished, they just finished Disco Elysium, and it took them 153 4-hour-long episodes to beat it.
Holy shit.
Like,
I feel like that would be something where Zach's just like, hey guys, I'm gonna play Disco Elysium. Whoever wants to just watch me play it is good. Not stream, not do anything.
Just playing it.
Just playing
you
it.
trying to call me sad? Because you're right.
No, I'm trying to say that would be the logical thing to do, because I don't even think I would want to do 100.
But why would Zach do
hours.
anything that's not on stream? When Zach's not streaming, he disappears into the ether.
It's true.
And then right before stream, just,
As soon as I hit the stop streaming button, I fucking vanish from reality.
I am a goner.
I am a goner. Oh, that's funny as shit. That's so good. My chest hurts. Everything hurty.
There we go.
I am a goner. Whoop!
Yeah, sorry. Whoop! I forgot it was a whoop and not a ah!
I like that the echo's still there.
Yeah.
Pretty fun.
How to do this? What happens if I do this? It turns. I could have never guessed.
He could have never guessed
What if I
in his
do?
wildest dreams that is what would have happened in that exact moment.
Who are you talking to?
He
Find
asked
out on the next
question.
episode.
Find out on the next episode of what the fuck are we talking about?
Where's this joke going?
Where is this show going?
It's pretty good.
Will our intrepid heroes ever find out? Unlikely, to be honest. Oh,
Our intrepid heroes, our intrepid side characters. We're not even the main characters.
We're like the side
Well,
characters that
sure.
got their own spin-off shows, so making us the main characters, but of a spin-off show.
Exactly.
We're the main spin-off characters.
Oh,
the main spin-off characters. It's pretty good. Okay, let's see how this works. Fuck.
Nice.
This level's hard. I want to play this.
so hard.
This level's hard. I want to play it.
Oh, I was watching Nuka Break the other day. I don't know if any of you are into Fallout or Fallout fan content to extended degree.
I'm not familiar with this one.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
It's
even
like
know what
a-
language you're speaking.
I want to say it's like a 6 or 7-year-old machinima, but like it was a live action one made by the Machinima company on YouTube. It was pretty good. It was a bunch of guys with like honestly pretty impressive sets for like filmmaking, like indie filmmaking back in the day. And like the main character was I would say pretty interesting in that he wasn't like a cool gun-toting badass or whatever. Portly dude who came from a vault where the thing was that like everyone there, like literally they just had junk food, as in there was no water, there was only soda, and there was no healthy food.
That's really
Oh my
funny.
gosh.
And so like everyone in the vault was like incredibly fat, except and including him, but like he was less than everyone else. So everyone called him Twig in the vault. And so when he came out and was fatter than everyone else, he took those as compliments because like, oh, no one's ever called me fat before, because I was a skinny one, which is why they called me Twig.
The skinniest
And, like,
one.
He comes out and he's like not good at fighting because he lived his entire life in like a sheltered vault, and he's actually pretty bad at it and just gets by through charisma and lucky breaks.
Oh, that's fun.
Same.
Like his side characters do all the fighting for him, and also friends he makes, because he makes a lot of friends.
Along the
And I
way.
was just thinking like, on the topic of side characters, it was interesting. I just like unorthodox main characters where they're not really good at fighting and not necessarily even like independent of the other characters sometimes. Like the entire series, he's not good at fighting, and he never gets good at fighting either. The closest is like towards the end of the towards the middle of the series, he gets like a cool flaming sword, and it's like, oh, this is cool. And then at the finale, it melts, and he loses it, and he's like, shit.
No.
But then he
Wow.
gets like the final weapon that he uses is this like big metallic sign that says the name of the name brand of the soda that he drank and is addicted to, and he like beats some people up with it. At the 11th hour, at the very last second, when like one of the important side characters is about to get murked by the big bad guy, he charges in with a weapon and immediately gets stabbed and down, and he's like, really? And the guy's like, yeah, really. And then he falls unconscious and doesn't really help. And it's like, this is our hero.
He's
Cool.
not allowed to have his moment.
No, like you see him charging and with swinging this big thing over his head, this giant hammer sign, and the guy just like turns around, elbows him in the face of something, and then stabs him in the gut, and he's like, oh man, and then he falls over.
Damn it.
Man,
He's like, man, my moment.
my moment.
That's pretty good. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's good.
It turns out that because it's Fallout and there's obviously mutations, vaults or whatever, one of the doctor characters we meet later on tells him that, oh, it turns out that you have so much Nuka-Cola in your blood, and you've been drinking so many irradiated, like, post-apocalyptic Nuka-Colas that have been just lying around, that your body is actually mutated and it heals you somewhat. And he gets saved from being stabbed at the finale with a Nuka-Cola transfusion. Where
Let's
Oh my
go.
literally,
God.
instead of an IV bag, it's just a bottle of Nuka-Cola.
That's pretty good. like I'm not gonna begrudge that. That's pretty good.
It's for when it was released, it's pretty good. It was released a while ago.
Does someone want to
I
bring
don't
up
get-
one of
I
the
guess
banter
since no one's
ideas?
talking, I guess I'll ask somebody to bring up a banter topic.
I was just gonna say one more thing, just a comment, but
Oh, sure.
on the series, but it is very old, and I think part of that is that I don't think it passes the Bechdel test.
Oh no.
as in there's like 3 female characters, and again, I don't
Just
think
like real
passes the
life.
Bechdel test. Yeah, and like about maybe like 24 guy characters, not including like extras, which are also all guys. Yeah,
Well,
I was just commenting. It's old. There's parts that are good, like the part I mentioned about the main character by kind of being a chubby loser a little bit. But you know, he like makes friends, and that's his whole thing, where he does successfully make friends and influence, you know, progress the plot. But he just doesn't do it by fighting or doing cool hero shit. Well, partially. There is an aspect where he's good at fighting sometimes, but only because he has a Pip-Boy, which Fallout, if you don't know, is like a technological watch basically that monitors your heart rate and health and inventory and stuff. It's the in-game inventory system.
It fills
But
you with
Pip-Boy
an
is
absolute unbelievable level of radiation.
The only times he's ever good at fighting or shooting is because he uses VATS in the Pip-Boy. And that's it. He's completely garbage every other time he
what
tries to
was
shoot
the
a
name of
gun.
this again?
Nuka Break, Fallout Nuka Break.
Okay.
But,
I'll have to keep this in the back of my mind.
banter topics, since I'm on a roll here. I brought up just before, while I was getting on the bus, when dull reflexes help. And this is actually relevant to Nearly Through Hands with a 13-year-old today. This
You need to
happened-
stop
no.
fighting the middle schoolers that you work with.
I didn't fight them, to be fair.
I
almost-
Sure.
Your Honor,
Your Honor, you wouldn't understand. You had to be there.
you had to be there. You don't understand. Did you
Listen,
see
you don't
that? Did you see
understand,
that
Your
one
Honor.
middle schooler? He's like 7 feet tall.
Okay, so there's this kid, and call him Al. Al, he has like a big chip on his shoulder because he's like for middle schoolers, he's a little bit short, but he's like average middle school height-ish.
Okay.
He is really into skateboarding, but is also super aggro all the time. Not the most aggro, but he's like probably the second most aggro in the class. And he, constantly swears, drops like N-bombs and like slurs and shit, even though he's not black. Yeah, I mean, he's in the special ed class, which includes both kids that just have learning skills and kids with really bad attitudes, which seems like those should be separate, but budgeting can't make enough classes, I guess. But that's beside the point.
see.
Point is, I'm in part of my group that I have to watch over at work. And Al, at one point, when it was wrapping up lunch, we were supposed to go back to class, because I have to follow him around or some of the other kids around. He was like running.
His mouth.
Not yet, but he was jogging up towards the class to talk with a friend of his that's also in the class, another kid, and I was like maybe like 15 feet behind him. And it turns out that I was at the point talking to the director of special education for the entire school district, because he just happened to be visiting just to check up on me and the school, I guess. And he's the one that hired me for the job. So that's how you know this story is important.
Oh boy.
I still have my job, to spoiler it, but
I think the idea on your second shift you get fired for throwing hands with a middle schooler.
So Al runs up, and I've been watching him for a while, and they've been roughhousing basically, and not supposed to. They're not even supposed to like do handshakes of COVID guidelines, but they've been roughhousing. I tell them to knock it off several times. He does not listen, and at one point, the kid that he's like talking to like jogs up ahead, and I see that interaction where right before that happened was Al like kicking him in like the shin and like pushing him. And so I see Al see this kid jog ahead, and Al starts breaking into a sprint. I'm like, that's not gonna fly. So using my adult legs, I caught up to him, and I grabbed him by the handle of the backpack on the top of the backpack, and I like pulled him back a little bit, just enough to like get him to stop. And he immediately starts mean mugging me, where he's like, what? And he says, don't touch me, get your hands off me. And I'm like, I'm not touching, I'm touching your backpack. And then I just look over. I'm trying to keep my eyes on both this kid, Al, and the other kid that he's playing with. And so Al is getting really angry that I'm not letting him attack another student. And I see him try to get away from me. So with my one hand grabbing the back, the other hand I move to interpose, not even touching me, just like moving my arm, poking out between him and the other kid. And Al, in his infinite wisdom, right in front of the director of special ed of the school district, decides to punch me twice in the gut. While my hands are both occupied. And I realize, wow, he's in middle school and not fully formed physically. And I am fully formed physically, and this doesn't hurt.
I could annihilate him.
I'm just like, wow.
Batman broke his back.
I can't help but just laugh at the idea of Adrian being like, I could destroy this child.
I mean, I've never been in a fight, but I feel pretty good about my odds with Al, but that's not the point.
I'm sorry.
But anyway, so I don't hit him or anything, obviously. Like, the exchange ends when I let go of his backpack and the other adults come in and are like, hey, break it up, you guys. And Al gets sent home for the day. And in my head, I'm like, shit, am I gonna get fired for this?
Yes.
Thankfully, literally the director who hired me says like, no, you're fine, don't worry about it, happens on the job. And then my supervisor at the job site is like, you know what, you're cool. Just so you know, they roughhouse a lot, but I'm glad you did that. I would rather you've done that than not done anything, and don't suffer any repercussions for that because I was fine, basically, in the right. But
that's really convenient, because that very easily feels like it could have went south for you.
a different way.
It could have,
yeah.
but it didn't. That's why I was sweating hard when that first happened. But the next few days, Al hates me now because I embarrassed him because I took his punches because they were nothing, and they were like nothing because they were nothing.
Because he's a
you
child.
pathetic child.
He's weak.
But the next day, I'm like standing maybe like 10 feet away from him and watching him over in like a PE area because it's an outdoor campus. Because the PE area is where he like has break or whatever. He's talking with some other kids, and he turns and looks at me, and he does the thing where he like paws at me, where he like does like an aggressive, how to describe it, where like you like flex a little bit and like stutter
a
and
chest
stick your
thrust.
Yeah, he like chest thrusts at me like real quick, and in my head, after that exchange, because I don't move or do anything, I'm just like whatever. I literally don't react. But I realized after the reason I didn't react was because my reflexes were so slow, because he did it, and I had time to process what was happening before my body would have flinched out of reaction. So that's the part where
That's
it's
pretty
like when
funny.
slow reflexes help, where like my body would have normally like flinched or blinked or like whatever, but my brain's like, oh, it's Alex and he isn't her and he's like a punk ass kid. And then my body enough time to like tell my brain, hey, don't worry about it, it's good.
You're fine.
So I was just thinking about that on the way on the bus home, where it's like, man, it's a good thing that I have really low blood pressure. Well, in that
I'm trying
regard,
to get it
there's
to a resting 0.
there's other places where low blood pressure is bad for you, obviously, but in that scenario, the fact that I usually can stay pretty zen, or at least torporous and maybe slow and sluggish, maybe not zen, but sloth-like,
Chilling.
I suppose.
Slosh-like.
Slosh-like,
Oh,
you might even say. But yeah, that was just when Dolric's help and also me almost
It's my
throwing hands.
favorite. It's my favorite video game genre.
slosh.
Nearly 13 is maybe not. It's maybe an exaggeration, but the kid is like in middle school age, 13 years old ish, I think. Nowadays, Al is very fond of. So, did I mention the 6'4" middle schooler?
You mentioned him once.
During
Did I mention that
during
he's
Gardic
6'4"?
Phone, you did, yeah.
Did I mention that he's about 210 pounds and has
did
an
not.
amateur boxing record of 15 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses?
You did not mention that. You
Don't-
mentioned he was into boxing.
Don't fight that guy.
I was gonna say, did I mention that he really likes MMA?
Oh, I do remember this now.
And
Yeah.
so I'm 5'8". Al is like maybe like half of it shorter than me, so like maybe like 5'2" to 3, maybe 4. Al really likes trying to pick fights with 4 kid,
Wow.
and the 6'4" kid has a stutter. And Al really likes to make fun of him for it and pick on him. And I have a good rapport with the 6'4" kid. That's why I know that he's really an MMA in his boxing record or whatever. And the 6'4" kid told me, dude, the other day Al was trying to start some shit after school and I knocked his ass out, and I'm like, I really want to congratulate you, but I can't because that would be inappropriate for my job, so I'm gonna tell you don't do that.
I'm gonna say don't you
You were like, nice.
I wish I could have been nice, but I can't because my job. But I told him, listen, if you do that on school ground, you're fully the size. Police sees you, this hulking dude, knock out this kid, and you're not white, they might shoot you. I told him that, and that kind of paused him for a second. And I told him, listen, if you want to beat this kid so badly because he's making fun of you, invite him to your boxing gym and tell him to box you there, where you can embarrass him in front of a bunch of people.
I mean, that's a
I
pretty.
didn't
That's
say that. I
pretty.
didn't say the last part.
That's pretty good, though.
I didn't say that last part, but I kind of implied it. But I told him, if you want to fight him, invite him to your boxing gym and do it there where there's, adults that sanction, everyone's cool with it. But he told me that apparently he's knocked out Al multiple times, as in throughout the years they've known each other,
Oh
like
my
once in like
God.
once in like
Wow,
fifth
Al
grade, once
seems
in seventh grade.
very self-destructive. which is not.
I mean, yeah, he's a skater, and I know that skaters are like a different breed, but like, damn.
Built different. Different doesn't mean smart.
Yeah.
Or
Apparently, Al's excuse to
usually
not
the
go to the
opposite.
boxing gym, apparently, is he's too poor, even though no one in this program is wealthy.
Yeah, but he is too poor.
To go to a boxing gym,
He's too poor, Adrian.
sure. I will also say that both of them like to spend a lot of time horsing around the locker room, which I imagine is because it's full of hormones. There's less supervision there because there's not as many adults in there. I'm trying to implant the idea that if you like spending a lot of time in there, you're gonna get like you're someone who really likes like boy sweat smell, because that's what it is. It smells like boy sweat, which is horrible, and I don't like it, and I wish they didn't either. So I'm trying to get them. My current mini project is trying to get them to spend less time in the locker room, because they are extremely homophobic, and obviously I'm not homophobic, but I'm trying to use against them where it's like, no, even if you're like homophobic or not, no one should like boy sweat smell. It's not good. It's bad. So whether or not they are, but especially if you are homophobic, like these kids tend to be using, slurs. I would hope that that's the motivation for them, but that's my current mini thing where I have to try to get them to horse around us in the locker room. My side quest, if you will. Also, hello, Lawrence. I was just talking about this 6'4" Goliath knocking out a 5'2" pulp.
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 Scrawny puke, if you will.
Well, sounds like an even fight.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the pulp is the one that keeps picking it.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You
To
probably know that.
summarize, there's this kid that I'm watching at my job. We're calling him Al. That's not his real name, but we're calling him Al. He has a chip on his shoulder. Is really mean. Has bad attitude. Then there's the 6'4" kid I mentioned. Amateur boxing wins 1 draw and 1 loss. 210 pounds. Al really likes to make fun of the 6'4" Goliath's lisp, or not lisp, stutter. And apparently the Goliath has knocked this kid out on multiple occasions, and he still hasn't learned his lesson. But also they're friends because they spend a lot of time talking with each other.
Okay.
So it's like,
An odd relationship.
I mean, middle schoolers that aren't me are weird in a really fucking different way than I was weird in middle school.
Oh yeah, I get it.
How were
I
you?
was a very different type of weird in middle school.
What type?
I was the type that had one friend and barely like 4 friends by virtue. What's that math property?
That seems similar.
Transitive friendship.
Transitive
I had
property.
Transitive
Yeah,
friendship.
the transitive property of friendship. I had 4 friends via that, but really just one friend. And most of the time, I was very depressed, even in middle school.
Oh no.
Oh,
And spent a lot of time alone. And it was a very sad existence.
dang.
How was each one of us weird in middle school?
Well-
This is new banter.
Well, for one, I didn't pick on the 6'2" boxer. They could crush me
That's
into
true.
a pulp.
It was
That is
literally the
pretty weird.
equivalent of making fun of Mike Tyson for his voice.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. How weird was I in middle school? Well, for one thing, I didn't have many friends, so.
I feel
I was
like
about
this
to say,
a
Lawrence is
common
about to-
trait. It's just-
Lawrence
This
is
a
about to-
common trait.
I was gonna say, I thought that Lawrence was about to confess. Well, I had a lot of friends. I got good grades. All the teachers and students liked me. The adults liked me too. I was extremely
Oh.
athletic and like did a bunch of instruments and extracurriculars. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, like
I just started listing off all of my accomplishments at
Lawrence is
age
built
12.
different. Oh my
you know,
God.
Built different.
did you know that I cured a specific type of organ cancer at age 12?
Yeah.
no one knows it was me because
I
I, give
won the
credit
Super
to my
Bowl.
colleague, but yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't
I
take credit to me
ghostwrote
because I was only a
the
child.
thesis for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good for you,
I don't
Lawrence. That's some pretty crazy accomplishments.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If only people appreciated me if I was not a child at that time when I was a child.
The damn,
Maybe I would actually go for her.
ageist academia.
Yeah.
Has any cancer been cured?
There's been a few that are treated, but cancer isn't really a thing that you can cure. Like that's not really how cancer works, unfortunately.
Yeah, you have. I don't think they discovered
Why
a
is
way
the cure
to
for cancer such a common thing that people say in fantasy?
Because when you're talking to laymen who don't actually understand what the difference between a genetic and a venereal and a bacterial disease is, when you say cure, that just means that you get better. Because like the cure for cancer is figuring out how to
getting it.
Well, no, the cure for cancer is figuring out how to eliminate genetic mutation from the human genome, which would be way more monumental than what people are thinking. So, I mean, like, a cure for cancer, quote unquote, is like centuries away, but we're getting pretty good at like treating it, like catching it early and treating it and stuff.
How long will it take until we get to fight sickness? Not like within our body fight, but like fist fight.
Fist
I
fight.
thought you were gonna say, do you want to fucking Miss Frizzle magic school to shrink down and throw hands with bacteria?
Yeah, I want to throw hands with
yeah.
COVID.
Don't
That'd be
you?
cool.
Man, this
All
is
I'm
gonna be a
saying
really
is I
shit
would let-
level.
All I'm saying is I wouldn't meet buses with ginger bus driver woman.
Oh, hey.
Ginger bus driver woman. That's her.
That's her, Miss Frizzle.
Please let this be a normal field trip.
With
Frizz?
Miss-
No
way!
With Frizzle? Fuck off, Carlos.
Carlos.
I
Is that
remember
not his name?
I remember
Arnold.
Carlos was a different
Oh.
guy. Yeah, that was Arnold. But
Yeah,
Carlos was the pun guy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Carlos.
I remember there was an edit of
The Alamo.
please let this be a normal field trip. Frizz, no way. And then cause normally in the thing it cuts to the bus like do like driving down the street and it's all happy. But someone edited it to where it was a school bus driving through like gang territory and just getting shot up. It's just like I think that's so mean. It's so funny.
It's so terrible.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
I think Zach really likes it.
Oh
Oh
no!
my god.
It was an hysterical.
Zach, a
going
known
insane.
member of the Crips.
You know
Zach
it.
forgot to take his normal pills.
Speaking of which, by the way, goddamn, are these middle schoolers invested in their Crips and Blood roleplay?
Are you sure it's
They love
roleplay?
They're middle
no.
schoolers, Zach.
I mean, I was in middle school when a kid got sent to juvie for murder because he was part of the Crips.
Well, these kids.
That was the same kid that I told the story of where he curb stomped a guy. Yeah, he curb stomped a
there you
guy
go.
and shattered his
Oh,
jaw
I
into a
remember
million
this.
pieces. That was the same
Well,
guy,
let
and he
me-
was in middle school.
Let me
Middle
tell you,
schoolers
Zach, these kids are not.
terrifying.
I mean, I believe you, but I'm just saying, like, it could happen. Is it likely to happen? No. It could.
But yeah, these guys really love. Actually, it's only two of them. Two of them really like it. It's Al and another kid I haven't talked about yet named. We'll call him Jameson.
Which one is blood and
Alan
which one is
Jameson.
Crip?
I honestly don't care, but they both like sagging. They both like throwing up gang signs at each other across the room,
Same.
and they both are very good. What?
What?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Is that why all the people kept knocking on our door in the middle of the night, Zach?
No. Moving on.
Is that why you always had a shotgun strapped to right above the door?
Is that why you had a shotgun strapped to your hip?
It was
at
tied
all
with like
times?
duct tape there.
There was a shotgun laid into the side paneling of the refrigerator just in case.
Just
Well,
in
shot-
case they
shotguns
come
are
looking
like-
for me.
And they were not they were full like hunting shotguns too, and they were really awkward and like clunky to like move around. Like I can't put the fucking milk in the fridge because fucking shotgun's in the way.
It's just shotguns in the way. I don't think you'll have a fridge with shotgun there. We have a game
keep it
we have a
cool.
game night and
Yeah,
someone's
gotta
like,
keep it
"Hey,
cool.
can I get a bottle of water?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just don't touch the shotgun. It's really cold right
Yeah,
now. It'll
it's
hurt your
just-
fingers."
This fucking shotgun has a big ass drum, and I can't get to the mozzarella cheese in the back.
Why? What? It's a drum shot. What? Now this is going from like gang territory to like mafia shit.
Mobster territory.
A
What's the
drum mag
difference? It's the same-
shotgun.
It's the same thing.
I mean, it's a little
gang.
different because like mafia shit was like,
Organization.
oh man, mafia shit's a little different, I guess. Is all.
Mafia shit was tomorrow.
Is tomorrow?
Gang things will be yesterday.
Are we disbanding Obostream and becoming organized crime stream?
Can we
We're
please?
disbanding. We're disbanding
want to,
linear.
apparently.
We're disbanding linear temporality and establishing confusion.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be part of the Obo family.
The Obo family. Oh my god.
The Obo family
Obo's family.
specializes in every single time paradox documented in mankind.
All of them.
We just cause them. We don't have a goal. We just make time paradoxes.
Alright, sure.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that's kind of funny? That's actually an organization within the SCP universe.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
get arrested by the SCP Foundation.
They're
Never heard from again.
like we'd be arrested. We'd just be murdered on the spot.
We,
But
we'd be contained.
we'd be contained,
protected.
exactly. but yeah, there's an organization that I think is really funny where like literally all they do is they find SCPs that allow you to make paradoxes, and they just keep making paradoxes in the hope that they'll make like a better future. But literally every time it leads to like a world-ending like paradox scenario, and then when the SCP Foundation fixes it, they go to them like, stop, and they're like, no.
Well, you see, here's the difference between them and us, Zach. I think that we should just cause problems and not have a goal with our paradoxes.
And not try to get better.
Not trying to get better. We just cause them because we want to. We have a checklist, you see, and once that checklist is
We
complete,
have an agenda.
they'll put up a new checklist with more paradoxes.
A new checklist with even more paradoxes.
Surely, once we create all of these paradoxes, we will have invented a new slew of opportunities for new paradoxes to open up.
They create brand.
That's how that
new
works, right?
paradoxes.
They're recursive.
Paradoxes are
paradox.
recursive. Yes, I can confirm, actually.
Indeed.
Great.
That's
Then
the
it's settled.
That's the
We're
funniest
good.
shit I've heard like all day. I'm just like, fuck it. Let's just go.
We have the power.
What are they gonna do? Stop us?
Do you
We'll
want to know
just
what the
create a
worst
time
part?
paradox. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Do you want to know what the worst part about that is, Zach?
What?
That's also a gang in Homestuck.
Fucking.
Yikes.
Gang
No escape.
where there's 14 members and like 90% of them have time-based powers that they just use to fuck up timelines.
Fantastic.
Good for them.
Good for them.
There's one guy that I really like. I don't remember his name, but his power is that he can materialize an oven that he can jump into to travel through time at a rate of 1 second per second forward only.
That's how things.
But the thing is the oven is pretty sturdy because it's an oven.
Why do they call it an oven when
When you oven out the food in.
you about the food?
All right. Good work, everybody.
Good work,
did it.
everyone. All
We
right,
can
gang.
retire
Let's,
now.
Family.
all right, gang. I hope it's productive. Let's go over real quickly what paradox everyone's caused.
Oh god.
I forgot to
I
bring
forg-
it. I forgot to bring in my paradox today. Can I just borrow Lawrence's?
Oh no.
Oh
I don't
my
think I
God.
want to-
Lawrence, how many paradoxes did you make?
I'm gonna shake hands with my grandfather.
That doesn't make a paradox, you fool.
And
I don't know what
killed him.
paradox is. Oh no.
A paradox
Does it
is
not?
something. No, shaking hands with your grandfather is totally fine. How the fuck would your grandfather know?
What if you break his hand?
Break his hand. Because I'm
Like-
so.
Well,
Like that doesn't stop. That doesn't create a paradox at all. It just creates an alternate timeline. A paradox would be like you going into the past to then shoot yourself so you can never go back into the past.
Zach, well, I really didn't want to say I'm gonna kill my grandpa.
But you're forcing my hands here to
Wait,
kill
that
my
sounds like
grandpa.
Forcing my hands to
It's
shake
Lord's
hands with
grandpa.
him. Oh no!
My paradox is that I went back and gave the first criminal that ever did it the idea of tax evasion.
You gave him the idea to do tax evasion?
Yes.
Oh my god. That's incredible.
What about you, Grant? What's your
Shit.
paradox of the day?
How do I even?
Paradox
I was
of
thinking
the
about it in
day.
this paradox of the day. I was thinking it the same way of Lawrence, of just like fucking with the past. But I guess that's not a
Killing your
paradox.
grandpa?
To
That's-
use your paradoxes, we have to be. I don't know if we have to have a goal. We have to be at least self-interested. We can't screw ourselves over.
I go into the future. I take a video recording of a lovely couple's wedding collapsing into hellfire. I'm thinking like the gender reveal style parties, but this time it's
Sure.
like a wildfire that starts because of
A
their
divorce reveal.
their divorce reveal. I take a video of that, and then I go back in time to where the lovely couple was, and I show it to them, and then I ask them, "Do you still want to get married?" And then they explode.
Oh, explode, huh?
Baba, do you have a
Right.
paradox to share with the class?
Okay. let's
Unfortunately,
see.
the
Well,
explosion is not
I just
part
need
of
to
my
look up
paradox.
one word.
Paradox.
Yeah, look up paradox. Make sure we know what it means.
Remember Professor Paradox from Ben 10?
I do. I'm
That's
jealous.
not
Of,
a character. That's a.
I'm
God, what
I'm
a-
jealous of that. I'm jealous of that guy.
That
Hey
can't.
guys, do you
He
remember
gets to
that?
live forever.
Oh, I do.
What
I
a
saw
lucky
it. Okay,
bitch.
so what I would do is I would go back into the past,
Samurai
saying as though like the future doesn't really change that much. I would go back into the past and mess with all the Mandela effect stuff that currently exists.
Oh, that's
Oh
such a
my
good
God.
idea. So you
That's
go back,
pretty
you
good.
go back into the past, and you change the Bernstein Bears into Bernstein Bears.
Berenstain Bears. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Oh,
Okay, that's pretty good.
that's incredibly funny. Son.
I was trying to think of paradoxical stuff. I was like, what happens if I make them
As a-
true,
As a bonus, you can have 13 time tokens.
What do you use?
But I
the
can
time
only go
token
back on
for?
Friday the 13th.
We don't know yet, but we will in the future.
The time. Well, you
I go
see,
to the future and give you the time tokens.
you see, the time tokens are themselves a paradox, which is why we're here in the first place.
Future me keeps coming back to give me these to dole out to you guys for good job, so.
Yay!
Yeah.
That's incredibly funny. I just love the idea of future Adrian being like, all right, hand these out for when people do good work with the paradoxes and whatnot. What do they do? You'll figure it out in the future. We eventually get to that future, and it's like, well, what did they do? It turns out they did nothing.
What do we do? Well, we went back to the past and gave them to our past self.
Yeah.
The job's all done.
What did they do?
Oh,
Yeah, those are how you turn it for break time. You use a paradox token and you go,
Oh,
all right.
You erase yourself from existence for break.
But only, yeah, for like a hot minute, for like 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, that's nice. That actually sounds peaceful.
not
Grant,
bad.
what's your paradox of the day?
He already
Since
said
no
one, didn't he?
else well,
Did he?
I said the joke of like, fucking giving the tokens out, but since no one else has said it, I kill myself in the past. But like
Oh,
yesterday.
like yesterday. That's as far back as you go.
It has to be a fair fight.
So you're not gonna assassinate yourself. You're gonna challenge yourself to a duel.
Yeah.
wait, Grant, are you that evil clone that comes back and tries to kill you no matter what?
I was gonna say, can I ask which one are you? Are you the past you that won, or the future you that won?
I'm the third one that showed up with the assassination plan.
You're the third one that showed up with the popcorn and sunglasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ended up killing each other, fucking idiots.
Fools.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it?
All right, well, good job, everyone. We'll turn for another good day of work yesterday.
This is really good. This is a good joke.
Thank you. I made it with my own 2 brain cells.
Nice.
Well done.
Well done.
What should our time gang be named?
Oh no, now you're asking. Hold on.
What should be named?
I
Or I
think
should ask what was already named.
What
What was
has
the-
been named?
What has it been named all along?
Huh.
it's hard to think of this on the fly. I think
Yeah.
that
I would do. Oh, hold on. I would do Alednum.
A Leadnum?
Magnum.
Yeah, you guys could figure out why.
All right, time to type
How do
it
you
out.
spell that?
Mandela.
Mandel?
It's Mandela backwards.
Oh, I was gonna go Paradox Pals, but that's not very threatening. I like that
Paradox,
one
but with Paradox Pals, we can finally get that book deal we've always wanted.
I was gonna say we get that children's TV show,
Finally.
and then,
Man,
and then
Lawrence
we'll
has been
slip
expecting that for a long
subliminal
time.
messages in there to
Yeah.
teach them our paradox creating ways.
Make a paradox. Make
we'll-
a paradox.
We'll be like, and this, kids, is why you want to avoid this paradox and never do it. But in case you want to know, here's exactly how, so you
That's
don't create this
exactly how to do
paradox.
it.
Wink,
Wink, wink.
Wink,
Nudge,
wink.
nudge.
blink. That's twice the power of a wink.
It's
Oh, yeah,
true.
That's true.
Yeah, it is true.
What do you do for 3 times the power of a blink?
Your third eye.
Yeah, you close
Yeah.
your third eye.
Third eye.
You don't know about
Oh,
the third
yours is
eyes
not.
now?
Yours isn't open yet.
Yeah.
Look,
Don't worry, you'll get there.
You'll
I
get
got
there one
bullied for
day.
not having
I hope so.
my third eye open.
I was really embarrassed when I learned that I couldn't open my third eye.
Why not?
You should be. It's kind of cringe.
Listen, man, we can't all just be non-cringe. We have to be cringe sometimes.
We can't just. Not all of us can transcend. Okay, we'll get there when we're
Not
ready.
all of us can be based.
Based on what?
Apartment complex. I find it quite simple.
We did it! We're here! Wait, what the fuck? How am I supposed to stop? Oh, it just solves itself. Okay.
Well, that was a pretty good banter topic, I think. even
Moving
though it
on to
came
the
out of
actual
nowhere.
banter topics that are
I
on
was
the
gonna
list.
say, Grant, what the fuck is extraordinary soup?
Super extraordinary.
So, not gonna lie, I did forget about this one, like what it actually meant for a while.
I was gonna say
Remember?
I remember this specifically. You forget about. I was gonna check if you remembered it or not.
I think I remember it, and it's really because God, when did I post that? Like a couple months
3
ago.
months ago.
It's really, yeah, it's really like in the past and not relevant anymore.
I am so
But,
excited to hear. This is gonna be so great.
This is gonna
It's
be like
gonna
that
be
time.
amazing.
It's been building up for 3 months.
Gonna be like the time I crushed my crown into dust before Saba's feet, laying prostrate while Zach continuously rambled with his horn.
Oh my gosh.
So, anyways, you guys hear about this thing called COVID? Yeah, I hear it's like 3 years old. I hear it might, it's starting over in China, but what's the possibility it could come here? You know,
my
Hey, guys,
good friend Zach has been worrying his head off about it, but I think he's just overreacting.
yeah. I
Hey
don't
guys,
think
I know I know we're getting out of high school soon, but I've heard about this college called Cogswell. I think would be pretty good if we all go together.
No! No! All right, Paradox Pals, quickly break this.
Paradox.
we stop ourselves from going to college.
We
Please.
can't let each other meet.
The only thing we see it doing is changing Cogswell into University of Silicon Valley. Anyways, COVID soup, Grant.
Yeah, COVID. No,
COVID soup is
so,
what they. COVID soup is what the patients turn into at the hospital.
Oh
Wow.
God.
Oh
I guess you could say that
no.
on their
Oh my
insides.
God.
Jesus.
Now I'm hungry.
So technically, this kind of only relates to Saba and maybe Adrian. But back 3 months ago, I finally finished watching Supernatural.
Oh.
Man, I haven't looked at that in a long time. Which
Yeah, and
I'm impressed. Color me impressed.
back then it was still like, oh, haha, funny because it sucks, and it did. It was fucking terrible.
Oh, that's
And
sad.
Oh yeah, the Supernatural finale, right?
yeah, so, and
Yeah.
obviously there was the meme of like, haha, Castiel gets sent to super hell for being gay. And
Wait,
he kind of does.
Can I interrupt for a second? I want to laugh really
Yes.
hard at the thing that Adrian just posted. I like milkshake. Tastes like prion disease.
This is what I thought of when I said COVID soup.
All right.
COVID soup.
I'm
Rest
sorry,
in
Grant.
peace.
Please continue.
Yeah, and then there was the meme of like Castiel gets sent to super hell for being gay, and it's kind of true. But basically, I don't know. Saba, I know it's been a long time since you've seen Supernatural, and I wanted to tell you I highly recommend not finishing it.
Oh yeah, I stopped when it
perfect.
became a little too crazy. I think when I was
Yeah.
like before 13. I think I watched maybe up to 11, 12. I can't recall, but
Are you talking about the
That's
seasons?
Yeah.
there have a lot. Of
Oh,
seasons.
wow.
There's
There
up
are
to 15. I think they
15
ended
I
at
thought you were talking about how
Jesus
old you were when
Christ.
you're watching it.
Yeah.
Well, you could have been. It's started in 2005, so.
Oh, I might be right. I usually tell people just watch until season 5 and then
Oh, you've seen
I
it then,
stopped.
Lauren.
yeah, I've seen a little bit of it. Definitely not
Oh.
the end though, because
Yeah,
my interest died already.
it literally doesn't get better after season 5.
Dang.
Let's see. I think
Which is
I stopped
exactly what I predicted.
a
Yeah.
little bit after because
Yeah.
I watched the thing with God and like darkness, like that. That's part.
That was season 12, I think.
Okay, I went
Season
a little
11 or
bit
season
past
12.
that, but then it started getting a bit too crazy, and I think I stopped from there.
Yeah.
Because the God
There-
stuff was kind of funny, but
Yeah.
then it ended, and I was like, okay, this is a very long show.
And it does one of those things where it could have stopped. Well, obviously it could have stopped after season 5, but they do.
But it didn't.
But it
That's what I
didn't. They do
say.
one episode way like too many because there's what I thought was the ending was like, okay, that wasn't so bad. Like it wasn't great, but I'm like, it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. And then there was another episode. Like everything was solved. Like they did everything. And so I'm like, where's this fucking last episode going? And it was fucking terrible and ruins everything. So yeah.
Let's just throw that out of canon, you know? Like
Honestly.
that doesn't exist.
Let's just shoot it out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Honestly.
It doesn't exist
All right.
anymore.
All right, Paradox pals, you know what to do.
God damn it.
Get rid of
You're
Supernatural.
so relevant. We should come up with Paradox themed Discord names.
I was hoping Paradox was Lawrence's description of just like fucking with the past, but I apparently I was wrong.
Ooh.
Because I had an idea, but that's not fucking with, or that's not creating a paradox. I would because you mentioned.
Nope.
And
Then
I
you're
was
getting
like,
robot.
I like how
Wow.
Grant is being devoured by his own paradox.
Oh no.
Little do
Oh, my
you know,
coworkers
it's him
texted
trying
me.
to, like, it's him messing with his own Wi-Fi to stop us from hearing that sentence.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I
He
think
always
he's
did
back.
say that it's
My
future
internet.
self that would fight back.
Dude, this is my first time
God.
being in a work group chat or work. Yeah. Because every other time I've worked, it's been by myself or just with someone in a small house. So it's
A
interesting.
work group chat.
Yeah, because we have to cover an entire campus with like 5 people.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We'll continue on with your thing, Grant.
I don't know. Am I
Yeah, you're good now.
decipherable?
You are
Yeah.
decipherable.
We can
Well,
hear
that
you
remains
again.
to be seen, but you're not robot-y anymore.
Your paradox self,
Uh-huh.
stop messing with the Wi-Fi.
What a lame
Anyway.
paradox. I'm gonna go back and jiggle his router cable a little bit so his Wi-Fi sucks.
Hey, I
what
thought that
Grant
was
would do.
clever.
Funny sometimes.
Let's see your paradox. Stream shuts down.
Alright, I won't
Um,
show you. Anyway.
Now that
Grant,
would
tell us
be a really
Supernatural.
good gimmick for. Have you? I don't know if you guys actually follow any of it. I don't, but you see them a lot on Reddit of the new wave of Hollow Live VTubers that have been getting popular, where every single one of them has like some ridiculous like meta gimmick. I don't remember her name, but there's a new one who literally has time stop. Where where her whole thing is that she tries to act like really aloof and like dismissive of everything, and she thinks that she's stopping time because she'll like pause the entire stream and like her entire PC, and she'll like go like, oh my god, I can't believe you just said that, but the stream can still see it and everybody acts like, oh, where'd you go? It was the time stop thing. And I was like, man, this would be really funny if it was Dio.
Zach,
Dio as a VTuber.
wait, Zach, you realize if you get a VTuber, you could become a JoJo character.
I mean, I don't want to be a JoJo character. I understand what you're getting at, but I don't want to be a JoJo character.
Coward.
Could you imagine?
Or-
Could you imagine a Jotaro versus Dio, but it's animated like a Hollow
Like Hollow Live,
VTuber,
like the
like
the
crossover where it's just the two little stationary people just like bumping each other repeatedly, and then two of the other ones show up and that's their stands.
Oh
Oh,
my god.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that'd be really funny.
That's how I would reanimate those scenes.
Yeah.
You could direct the OVA.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Grant.
I'm trying to.
Supernatural finish, please. I'm so sorry.
No, I don't know where I was going. Whatever.
We didn't get
Next
to the
banner.
soup part. We didn't
Next
get to the
banner.
soup.
So.
Why are you getting banter at the soup store?
Why are you getting banter at the soup store? There's another VTuber character that I saw on Twitter where she just looks like your typical like busty anime girl or whatever, but apparently the like narrative is that she is 80 times larger than Jupiter. and the video feed is being ultra compressed to fit on monitors. And I was just like,
Oh, no.
what a weird gimmick. Just here's a VTuber with her own gravitational pull.
Have you seen the moth one?
Excuse you?
There's a VTuber who's like kind of a moth person, but like the narrative is that she's secretly an eldritch horror demon that can unleash her form like a giant, horrifying moth like SCP horror monster. But then to be a VTuber, she just compressed into like a anime MILF.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't approve of VTubers as a principle, but I am approving of them getting into the next wave of like esoteric themes. Instead of it just being like, oh, I'm a shark girl, or like, oh, I swear a lot. Now we're getting into like the I'm a war criminal.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this thing's terrifying.
Oh, Grant, you beat me to it. I was about to post
Oh
it.
my god, what is that?
good lord.
That's her.
That's nightmarish. Which I guess is the point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh, she also has one more form.
Oh, the tiny. Yeah, the really.
Yeah, the tiny one, the little moth. Here.
Someone go
Let me-
find the
I'm gonna
Jupiter,
post this.
VTuber.
Here.
Oh,
Okay.
that one,
Oh, that's
like that
all
should just
that.
be the VTuber.
Well, we gotta have. Listen, there are 3 genders: MILF, Eldritch Demon, and Baby.
True.
Yes. Correct.
You're not like the other.
Okay. Well, next banter topic. I guess like Adrian, what's description efficiency? Because I couldn't remember if we talked about that one or not.
We did not. This is like a very loose one that I don't really exactly have a good idea of where it would go, but I was just thinking about, because I like to think about characters because they bring me joy. And I was thinking about like, there are definitely characters that are very complex, but also characters that just don't have a good direction, or characters that aren't very caricaturized where, you know, they're nuanced. And I was thinking, how important is it in a given genre to be able to describe a character quickly with like few adjectives? Like, He-Man, he's strong. That's it.
He's
but like,
strong.
Well,
like
He-Man
summarize
has a
it
little bit
quick
more than
description.
that, but yeah.
Right, but that's a summary of him where like Superman is like invincible or whatever. Like that's a almost apt summary of him.
Yeah.
But then there's characters in like that are harder to describe, and I'm wondering how much that has effect on like I guess the writing or whatever. Like let's see.
Can you give an example? Can you give an example of a character that's like hard to describe?
I guess maybe like Milo from Monster Prom.
Yeah, that's
'Cause, like-
well, no, because you could just say Milo is like like Milo is really weird because Milo is like Milo is death that loves life, I guess. I don't know. I guess I kind of understand what you mean though, where it's like the character is complex, but yeah.
But like not bad by any stretch. But it's just
Death, who's a millennial.
thinking about how easy it is to
Millennial.
summarize characters, because like you can have a character that's very well written and like very entertaining and compelling, but also very easy to summarize, or a character that's very complex or described but also trash, and then the other, you know, vice versa as well. And just how good a character is not necessarily having a relation with how easily you can describe them. Like when I write characters for D, because D&D is kind of pulpy and fantasy, I try to have characters have a point where you know they have a
Oh, their
thesis. We're like,
weapon.
oh, well, partially, but oh, like the old man is like bumbling and gives you a quest or whatever, and then there's like the gesture who's those characters are easily describable, but then like people in real life are usually not very describable simply. Like it's very hard for me to describe Grant. Besides like fine.
He's okay.
Like,
alright.
because it's so hard to describe actual people compared to like certain characters, but not other characters, I guess.
I
Well,
think
that's why I think you over exaggerate as well sometimes when it comes to character design.
Yeah, that's
So-
part of it, like how
Yeah.
exaggerated it is.
well, because it's also like because I mean you could kind of easily describe people that you don't know, right? Like the less intimately familiar you are with an individual, like the further they are away from you, but the more familiar you are with their like persona in general. Like I mean you can describe like Bernie Sanders pretty simply, you know. He's
Sure.
a 70-year-old socialist. There you go.
America is tired of women.
America is tired of women. Bernie 2020.
Oh,
I guess.
Have you
I
seen
guess
that
when
intercut with him saying that?
No, I did
I-
not see that. That's funny though.
Oh, it's just.
I guess when you reach a certain level of celebrity, in order to even reach that point, you kind of have to have a thing
That's
that
true.
people can latch on to simplify you. Because I don't think people vote for Bernie Sanders and his nuanced familial relationships and personal things. They vote him because of partially his policy, but also a lot how how he presents himself.
I don't disagree with that.
But
That makes sense.
yeah, I'm just
How am I
thinking
supposed
about
to
like.
get rid of? Oh, never mind.
Wow, what a perfectly cut.
I guess I was just interested in how pointed a character is interesting to me.
How pointed? Like
Because
a pointed
I guess
character?
part of it is that like I've had a lot of players at my D&D tables who make characters that obviously have like a big thing. Where like, oh, this is the barbarian who's big and strong and angry and kind of dumb. Like that's pretty simple, easy to describe. Oh, this is the stuffy little snobby book wizard who doesn't like people. But then there's like, right now I have two players who are really, or characters I should say, that are really weird to describe. Like one of them is mechanically an investigator, but like comes from a kind of scrappy upbringing, but also, you know, is very studious, but also very perceptive and alert, and like kind of like Sherlock Holmes, more streetwise. And it's like it gets muddy a little bit. Like the character doesn't necessarily have a distinct one point per se.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I said, this point is more loose and kind of rambling.
No, but I mean, it's kind of interesting though to think about, because like, how would you, and by you I mean like anybody, not just Adrian, but how would you describe like Link as a character? Does he even have a character?
An elf.
It depends on the iteration
that
of
likes
him.
to wear green. Blonde elf that likes to wear green.
Because
I guess.
Zelda 1 Link has much less personality than Breath of the Wild Link.
That is true. That is true.
Couldn't you just say Hero of Time and then have people interpret it as they go?
I guess, but it doesn't really
that's
describe.
fitting?
I guess we're talking about describing the person, not necessarily their job or title.
But I mean, for a lot of people, their job is their person.
Sure, but I mean, I
Not
don't
all
know.
the time, obviously. But
right.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just interesting how characters. I guess I think I would think that by and large characters are more appealing when we can boil them down to something easily digestible.
I don't know if like appealing would be the right, but but like you said, it's more.
Well,
I would use the
relatable or
word in the
something?
definition, where it's like the more boiled down they are, the easier they are to digest, which is what you just said. But that in and of itself means that people will be able to latch onto it early and then stick around for the more complex stuff if it comes around, I guess. Because I mean, like, there's a reason why He-Man died, and by He-Man died, I mean like the series, because like people wanted
Spoiler
something.
alert.
I thought you were like spoiling it. I was like, what's that? What did you just say?
No, but I mean like that. Like that's why He-Man like disappeared from the face of the earth, because it's like, well, people wanted something that was a little bit more complex and nuanced, or also just new, but still.
I just had an idea that might tie this in with Lawrence and I guess a little bit everyone else, because we all went to a school where they made us do a little bit of art. I think an interesting parallel is like character design silhouettes, where usually you want a very strong silhouette that is both very distinct and tells you about the character.
Right.
But in real life, most people's silhouettes are extremely uninterested and muddy and, you know, similar to each other, where they don't exactly have a point. They just are. And so it doesn't make them any less complex, but they just don't wear everything on their sleeve, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
I guess that's like character design shorthand, right?
right. Like Lauren said, I'm sure they taught you a little, or at least mentioned silhouetting in Cogswell, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And how that's like your first impression of the character.
Exactly.
So it's gotta be somewhat distinct.
Like
But-
like Roadhog from Overwatch cuts a very different silhouette from like the Scout in TF2.
Yeah. So you
True.
can so if they're all just silhouettes, you can tell who's who. But for us humans, like real life humans, we are far too similar to each other. Yeah, even as silhouettes, that'll be hard to tell who's who.
Right, like-
Lawrence is an evil villain. Humans are far too similar to each other.
We must be
That-
different.
Lawrence is
that is
twirling
why-
his handlebar mustache.
Yeah, that is why today I'm introducing the gene bomb.
Oh
I will trap you all in a big ball of denim.
That's all I meant. That's really funny.
Lawrence says that, and then like his scientist, like henchman, comes like, "What's that? Never mind. I'll be reorganizing your DNA."
I assume that's what you meant, sir. No, I wanted to give everybody nice clothes.
Yeah.
That seems really impractical, sir. Why would you make a bomb that could do this?
Because I could.
Because I can. That's why.
Yeah, that proves a point.
Uh,
That would be really funny though.
quick thinking on Adrian's part with the gene bomb. Okay.
I can't resist a good homophone joke.
I know.
I'm homophonic, they would say.
I don't know if they would say that.
I am a known homophone. People love calling me homophonic. Everywhere I go, they're like, "Oh, there goes the homophone." That's my supervillain title.
Only 4 more of
We're
these to go,
really
and then we can move
close.
on to the actual levels again. All right. What's the next banter topic? So that one's Adrian's.
One is X.
I kind of, it's a small anecdote. I can talk about it from today, or like earlier today. So my mother very kindly went grocery shopping for me. She just got me some stuff so I could have the tropical breakfast smoothies again, which I really appreciate. But one of the things that she told me, she was like, so normally the 32-ounce coconut water thing at the grocery store is like $5.30 something, like $5.30 something cents. So it's not cheap, but it's not like crazy expensive, but it is like whatever. She tells me like, yeah, buying 3 16-ounce coconut waters came out to $5 even. Now do that math real quick and you'll know that buying the 3 16 ounces not only was cheaper than buying the 1 32 ounce, it also gave 16 extra ounces of coconut water. And so the notion for this particular banter topic came to my mind, which was just like, I think it's really expensive to try and be responsible. Because I was trying to think, I was like, how on earth could they possibly validate this sort of like ridiculous pricing, right? And I was thinking about it, and I was wondering if the reason why the 32 ounce is more expensive is because that's what people are going to be going to by default, because coconut water is theoretically better for you than just like drinking regular tap water or Gatorade or something like that when you need like electrolytes. And that made me a little upset to think about the idea of just being like, yeah, because this is the right thing to do, it's more expensive. Which I know that's like a thing that people have known about for a while, where it's like vegetables and stuff are way more, like buying the equivalent calories of in vegetables and fruit as opposed to a bag of junk food is like 60 times more expensive or something ridiculous like that, because junk food is crazy cheap to produce.
Indeed.
I'm gonna move
Well-
these over to a different channel.
That was the banter topic.
I mean, yeah, I don't have anything to
There's
add
nothing.
or
Well, that's what
disagree with
that's what I
there.
mean when I say that, and that's why I brought this one up like real quick, because there's not really anything to really discuss here per se. It's more just like, I don't know. It's annoying that like, because not only that, I also felt bad because like initially when Mom said that she bought 3 16-ounce things, I was like, oh, that's just wasteful. Because like it requires like more packaging materials to get that all set up as opposed to just the 132 ounce. And then she explained the pricing thing, and I was like, okay, so now it's cheaper to produce more garbage? How does that make sense?
Oh, do you know a little trick that I found out recently that's tangentially related to this?
No.
My mom water, so I drink bottled water because we want to get through it. And it's like, it's a lot of waste, but I realized that if you, before you like put them in like the bin or whatever, if you unscrew the cap and leave it open as you throw it in, the bottle becomes easier to compress if you have to squish it down for whatever reason or compaction. So
I mean,
that's
true.
a little tip to help you save some space if you ever need to compact lots of water bottles for some reason.
That's good. Yeah. It's a good tip.
Well,
Cool.
just any plastic bottle in general, I guess.
It's a cool tip.
So
Well,
next time
Adrian-
you're about to throw away a plastic water bottle, unscrew the cap on that baby. I'm sure that in some plant where they make that shit into cubes, it'll save a little bit of power.
Good. I'll sure keep that in mind.
What's the next one? Okay. Oh my god, it goes so far up. There's a lot of stuff on here I don't really want to talk about at the moment. I'm not really in the mood for it. What would you do with the Men in Black neuralizer?
Stop
Beam,
the
I
paradox,
would.
pals.
You know what I would do
Stop
as
the
a paradox?
pals.
You know what I would do? I would pick it up, be like, "Oh, what's this?" Flash myself, drop it, blink a few times, look down, I was like, "Oh, what's this?"
And just
Oh,
repeat
no.
ad infinitum.
And then I would starve to death. That's what I'd do.
I was
Sounds so sad.
I was thinking about it, and I was trying to come up with a way of like, I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about SCP stuff, like for the SCP campaign, and I was like, what could you possibly do if I gave a character from the SCP campaign a neuralizer and just was like, yeah, you know how this works, go have at it, you know, like how would that function? And I was trying to think of like crazy bananas ways that it could work, right? So you by default need to make sure that the thing that you're flashing, if you're trying to wipe its memory and then like, yes, Adrian?
Sorry, I was trying to figure out the name of an SCP so I could comment. I looked up neck snapping SCP, and the first entry in Google is, "Can SCP break a really strong neck?" And it's just a dude of SCP versus like a guy with a really thick neck as a thumbnail.
That's like SCP-147 or whatever, right?
It's 173 because I
173.
just Googled it, but yeah.
It was close.
Anyways, continue.
Where was I? I don't even remember.
You were saying that in order for it to work, they have to do something.
Oh yeah. So in order
Yeah.
for the neuralizer to work, the thing that you're trying to have it the thing that you're trying to wipe its memory needs to have some sort of like visual receptor, right? So that way it can receive the light that is in some way connected to its brain. And so I was thinking about that, and I was like, that's a really good video. And I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't know. I wonder. I'm trying to think of like if. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking, what happens if I give this to Dave?
Oh,
Here,
I think he's gonna use it on everyone, including us and himself. I feel like.
Yeah, I think he'd use it on himself first.
so here's what I'd do. I'd be like, all right, I've got maximum clearance and I can go wild with this thing. I run into the room they're holding, SCP-173. I flash it, but it's facing the wrong direction. I stun myself, blink a few times. He smacks my neck. I land on the floor with a snapped neck. In my last throws before my brain loses connection with his body, I go, oh, there's that thing in front of me. And my death throw is push my thumb over to the button, and I flash myself again right before I die.
My favorite part of that, and the whole reason why I talked about the needing ocular receptors and stuff like that, is that SCP-173 doesn't have eyes.
I didn't say that he was affected by it.
Oh, you just do it.
I go up and I'm like, watch this, boys. And I go up and it's faced the wrong way, so I accidentally flash myself because I'm not wearing sunglasses. And then I'm stunned, drop it, and then look down, snap my neck, and then, you know, I just said all of it. I don't think it bears repeating. I would challenge SP-173 and lose immediately because I'm not wearing the correct equipment.
That's pretty
And
funny.
on that note, I'm gonna
All
head
right.
out.
Well, I mean,
Goodbye.
listen, I need a little bit more than nothing for these banter topics, I
What do you
guess.
mean nothing?
Well, because I mean, like, I asked the question, what would you do with the neuralizer? And then I explained a little bit of, like, what the idea was. And then everybody was just like, yeah, neuralizer.
I told you what I would do. It would have no effect on
You
173, and then I would die.
keep killing yourself with the neuralizer.
Yeah, but I'd be confidently like, oh, this is gonna work. I'm gonna wipe that bitch's memory.
You know, what you just do is you take it to all your enemies, and then
Do you have enemies in the SCP Foundation, Saba?
Dude, everyone's my enemy, okay? I use it on the board of directors.
Did you say everyone?
Wait, Solid Flash. Who are your enemies again?
What? What'd you say?
Good, it worked.
Perfect execution, boys. We can
Okay.
go home.
Alright,
Flash.
Zach. Well, how about you tell us? Even though I don't know how well versed everyone here is in SCP lore.
I mean, I'm not saying it has to be an SDP world. I'm just saying, like, with a neuralizer period.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you said that we were. I thought you said that you gave it to us and we were specifically unleashed into the SCP compound.
Yeah, well, okay. So the reason why this topic came up initially was because I was thinking about giving a neuralizer to one of the players in the SCP campaign, and so I was having
okay.
fun. Like when I was thinking about this banter topic, I was having fun just coming up with like different like stupid things that you can do with the neuralizer.
All right. Well, I already gave my answer both in and out of the SCP compound.
Man, I'll be fucking flashing it on every single SCP I can find.
In the park, Lawrence? Jesus Christ, that's illegal.
Actually, no. All right, you know what? Here's my crazy goal then. But this is mostly SCP focused. I would try to go one-on-one with SCP-1, whichever version
Which
that is.
which one? Several of them are buildings.
Several of the ones with eyes.
What, the fucking guardian? The one that's the 300-foot tall angel made of fucking solar fire.
And the one that
Lawrence would have a similar experience to me.
I'm about to say,
if I,
Lawrence. I'm pretty sure the photons that the neuralizer puts out would be vaporized before it got there. Like
What
that's
if I
how
find
ridiculous the
Right.
guardian
Right.
is.
To
All
the
right, here's what
Antichrist,
Lawrence
huh?
would do. He'd go in the spaceship
help?
to go approach this
I don't
thing.
know,
He'd be
man.
in his spacesuit. The spacesuit has glass that does not block these rays because he's a moron like me. He holds up the thing like, I gotcha. He flashes it. It has no effect on the SCP. He blinds himself in days. He's just
Oh,
floating
no.
there in space for several seconds. Plenty of time for him to be wiped out by the power of this SCP.
Oh no.
All right, good session, everybody.
Hey Lawrence, what do you think if we had that? How do you think it would have turned out if we tried using that on the Antichrist?
On the Antichrist.
Just
Does
wipe the
Antichrist
Antichrist's memory.
No, you know what? Combine it together. Antichrist and God. Hit them both with one
Wipe
flash.
God's
the
memory
room.
with the neuralizer?
Yeah.
Because technically, the Antichrist has to destroy God, but if God doesn't even know himself that he's God, can he?
Wouldn't
negate
wouldn't
it?
God just stop the photons? Like
We'll
could
flash him some more.
just keep doing it and God's like
All right.
oh well they're trying so
Alright.
hard, might as well humor them.
I was gonna say, Saba and Lawrence walk up. They're both holding the single thing. Each of them has one hand on it, and they walk up to the Antichrist and God, and they start flashing it. But I jump in the way at the last second, Mr. President. Take for God and Antichrist. I take the brunt of it.
Well, actually, that's pretty close to what canonically happened in the campaign.
I
But
jumped in the
if
way.
you can just use it again, then Adrian will just be on the ground and I'll just be holding it and I'll press it again.
Don't
Then
forget,
my paradox one will
Your
jump up and do it and
paradox,
take it for me, and then it'll continue until we form a paradox wall of confused, dazed flesh. I
that's
like
a
paradox wall.
that's a nightmare.
That sounds like a new SCP.
Every single paradoxical parallel universe Adrian comes together for the sole purpose to form the paradox wall, where we all get stunned by a neuralizer and just stay there for a while.
For a
And then-
while.
and then we leave. Yeah, we get up and leave afterwards.
Only one left. We have like an hour left in stream. Why does this stream both feel exhausting and also really fast? To me.
Because I'm here and I'm hopped up on juice,
Big
What
juice.
kind of juice?
water.
Ah, the juice of the sea.
Yes.
Water, week old like cold wraps, and sour cream and onion chips.
And neuralizer.
Oh, also I got out early today, so I was a little happy about that.
There you go. That's cool.
Yay.
I got out early because I showed up early because I didn't have a choice because that's how the bus is.
I mean, Yeah.
My
Fair.
option for my bus commute, the options are show up 10 minutes early or show up 15 minutes late. So I go with early.
That's probably the
That's
better
fair.
of the choices. Yeah.
Probably.
Next-
Salva, what will you do with a neuralizer?
Okay.
Well, I tried doing using it against my enemies, but you guys used it on me. So
I jump in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm about to say that's what
Anything I
Sama
do-
said.
My
Yeah.
my eyes are
Anything I do,
specially
yeah.
my eyes are specially created to absorb neuralizer photon rays.
Just specifically.
not to be impervious, but to absorb them, maybe especially vulnerable to them.
Wow.
Any
They're very
neuralizer
sensitive.
goes off within a 6-mile radius, and Adrian immediately forgets everything.
My eyes, they like vacuum up the photons.
Oh, that's
Good.
a terrifying image.
I am the protector of those who shall not be photon rayed.
Photoned.
Photoned.
I got another banter topic. This one's
What
kind of
is it?
similar to the This is kind of similar to the one that Saba and I talked about when it was just kind of us on stream for a bit. From an evolutionary / societal standpoint, why do humans scream in terror?
I actually thought about this a little bit because I saw this and I remember
Just to explain why this is a question period, isn't that only detrimental to you, the individual, to
Well,
scream in
part-
terror?
well no, it's
No.
to alert your group.
Or also
Your
maybe
brethren.
like loud and threatening. You've seen that tiny frog video where it's like a squeaky toy and it's like this is like a war
It's a
cry,
war
and it's
cry.
like, well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You can maybe startle and scare the whatever it is that's scaring you away.
It's bad if you're sneaking, sure, but there are other ways that it's helpful. I mean, humans are notoriously pack creatures.
Okay, I guess that makes sense because when I proposed this question initially, I was thinking about it from the context of one second. Excuse me. I was thinking about it in the context of something is like hunting you, and like you see it and you go ah, and then it's like there you are, and
Right.
Okay,
and like
sure,
goes
in
after
that kind
you.
of scenario, when you're
On-
being
on
hunted,
a-
I guess it's not useful.
In a related case, the first time I screamed in fear,
Was yesterday.
but it was I didn't go on a roller coaster yesterday because you can't go on roller coasters nowadays unless you're an idiot. I was like a couple of years ago back in high school. I screamed right as we were or actually about midway through the descent. I screamed because it was twofold. One, because I was shocked and afraid, and two, because of the G's hitting my chest. It literally forced the air out of my lungs.
Oh,
That's kind of
boy.
interesting.
So that's not exactly, but semi-relevant.
Some
But anyways, yeah.
is-
I mean, it's mainly an alert mechanism and an attempt to be intimidating, I guess. Even though we're not exactly... I mean, we're intimidating to some animals, but definitely not predators, generally, to us.
'Cause I mean, like I remember when 25 games to continue. I don't want to do this. Moving on. I was thinking about it in the context again of when like they say that you get attacked by like a black bear or something like that, you're supposed to like yell and make yourself look larger. And I'm like, humans don't really. I know that like raising your arms and splaying them out like quote unquote makes you look larger, I guess, but humans don't really have the same ability to make ourselves look larger as like most. Like essentially what I'm saying is like, how does a wild animal see a human and then see that same human with their arms up and go like, oh dude, that's huge?
I don't know. I'm not.
I mean, animals are
them.
simple creatures, usually.
Yeah.
It does change.
I guess so, because I mean obviously applying human logic to an animal isn't fair, but I'm just thinking about it and I'm just like, wouldn't you just, I don't know, wouldn't it, if I feel like if I was like a bear and I saw like a person like raise their arms up, I'd be like, why? Okay, I'm just gonna go for those because now they're exposed.
I mean, it's theoretically the same principle as like bears usually move on four legs, but then when they're starting shit, they stand up to be really tall and big.
Right, but what I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying is that like a human, like when a bear does it, they have like all that fur and like fat that like shifts, so now they look like a giant living blanket. But humans don't
Right.
really do that. Like we don't do that too much.
I mean, yeah, it's the same effect, but it's the same principle.
I suppose.
Also,
Do you
we
think
used to be a
you
lot
do you think you
hairier.
could? Sorry.
We used to be a lot hairier, obviously.
I mean that's true. Do you think that there's a do you think there's an intimidation factor if you have long hair and you just like whip it around like heavy metal rock style? Do you think that'll intimidate some animals?
Probably, but I don't think the disorientation would be worth it.
That's a good point, actually.
Because you have to move your head really fast to do that.
That's a good point. I didn't
And
think of
you'll
that.
probably just destroy your neck. To make it easier, you're tenderizing your
But what
neck
if you have a
to make
really
it
strong neck,
easier for
Saba?
them. Oh,
Yeah,
God, I
exactly.
don't know.
You don't know.
Like the guy in that thumbnail that I posted earlier.
Well, he may have a different lease.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I don't
Zach,
know
I'm
if
not
he'd actually move his neck. I think his head is locked, looking forward for the rest of his life.
That's pretty good. Oh, did Grant not get a chance to say goodbye?
No, he said goodbye.
Oh, I didn't hear him.
saying goodbye.
He said it, and then we talked for a little more, and then he left.
Oh, sorry. I guess I missed it. My bad. All right. Well, that's another banter topic down. I mean, we could talk about the Mario 64 one again. How do you feel about that one, Saba? Do you think we should talk about the
the
Mario?
kicking thing?
Yeah, with the kicking.
Well, you gotta ask them first if they know what it is. Because I thought it
Nah.
was pretty fun.
No, just kidding. So, are you guys familiar with the kicking mechanic from Mario 64?
When you jump and kick the air?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So exactly the way you just describe it, it's a relatively simple mechanic that exists.
I mean, I don't know if I call it mechanic. It's just a move, isn't it?
Well, the thing is that it is a mechanic because the kick actually does like 1.5 million different things. Like, did you know that if you kick right before landing on terrain that would normally insta-kill you, like quicksand or lava or ice water, you get to bounce once with invincibility?
Oh.
Yeah. So with lava, you can even see that in like the Mario 64 speedruns. They do the kick so they can bounce 4 times across lava instead of 3, so they can get to like other places and stuff like that. But also like when you kick, you can be jumping in one direction, and then with the kick, whatever direction you kick will cancel your momentum and replace it with the momentum of the kick in that direction. So you can use it to like reposition yourself in the air and actually like do some fucking sick movement on like getting up platforms and stuff like that. The major point of why I brought this up with Saba was because it turns out that overall the kick from Mario 64 is actually just like super relevant. Like I guess I mean that in the sense that it really shouldn't be called like an additional mechanic. They designed the game around the idea that you would be using this kick all the time, but then they don't explain all these mechanics to you. They explain to you how to jump, they explain to you how to talk to things, because that's the minimum of what you need to do in order to beat the game. But then all of these like intricate mechanics around the kick are never explained to you, and you're expected to play around and figure it out yourself, which, you know, might be amicable in some circumstances, but in other circumstances maybe not. Because I think the primary example that I think of, and maybe many people think of, is Aaron Hansen from the Game Grumps, where their playthrough of Mario 64 was notoriously terrible. And although some people, myself included, might be quick to blame that on Aaron being bad at video games, which he is, but it's also because he didn't know about the kick mechanic. And so it's one of those things where like the game is a lot more difficult when you don't know how to use it properly.
I mean, I played through it and I never knew about this, but I thought I did okay.
Well, and that's the thing. Also, Aaron Hansen's bad at video games, but
Right.
so this is the
So
this
you're
is
just gonna add that to every sentence you say now. Also, Aaron's bad at video games.
I'll make that the fucking banner on the stream. Don't think I won't, but
Hey man, I've been having a really tough day. I just want to talk to you personally. Aaron's really bad at video games about how like
that's me talking to my therapist.
Yeah.
there was like, is Aaron Hansen in the room with us now?
Is Aaron Hansen in the room with us now?
He crawls off from under the couch, just shh, crawls back under.
That's really terrible. But yeah, so now this was just me introducing the notion to you guys. The actual point of the banter topic is, do you guys think that is like okay? Like the actual banter topic states or dictates Mario 64 control schemes and whether or not mastery matters to the average person. So like, if someone didn't like Mario 64 and then you explain this to them, do you think that their opinion of the game goes up? Or do you think they go, oh, well, I wish they would have told me that?
I think it depends on the game and the intent of the design.
Yeah.
It should be noted that obviously Mario 64 was like the first of its kind, right? So it's
Right.
like, so it makes sense that they had some like growing pains to sort out, but I don't know. I was just like watching the video where the guy was just explaining all these mechanics, and I was like, how is this not in the tutorial? Like, how is this not like one of the first things that they teach you when you walk into Peach's castle?
I mean, the game does it. You just kind of go.
Well, the game tells you how to move and how to jump and stuff, which obviously that's not the same thing, but it could be.
I don't think it tells you how to like wall jump, but that's pretty important.
Does
Or
it not
long
tell you how to
jump.
wall jump? I thought it did.
I'm pretty sure it just tells you how to jump and punch.
Well, because
and
you
then
get
the rest
to
you figure out.
you get to the ice level where it's required to get one of like the progress stars or whatever.
Right, but I don't think it tells you how to do it. I think you just have to figure it on your own.
I thought it did. I thought there was like an NPC like penguin or something that's like,
It
oh, when
might-
sliding on walls, jump to kick off of it.
It might be an NPC you have to talk to, but I don't think it's like a bubble that pops up that's mandatory.
Right, like Lakitu is. Yeah.
Yeah, but to circle back, I mean, it depends on the intent of the game design and how it's actually carried out. Where like, what's that fucking like getting over it? If there was like
Getting over it with Bennett Foddy.
Bennett Foddy.
I was gonna say, if there was like a secret button that gave you like a spring that just jumps you in a very convenient arc, and it was found out like 12 years later, and Benefit's like, oh yeah, you guys didn't know about this? It's like, no, you didn't fucking tell us. Like, oh yeah, you're supposed to play the game with this. Then like, everyone would hate it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like everyone would think Benefit's a bigger house than they already do.
He is a little pretentious, I'm not gonna lie.
But I mean, like, that would be intent. Whereas Mario is executed such that you don't need the kick jump, even if someone was designed with it. It's
Right,
not designed
yeah.
so it's crippling. It's designed so it would be helpful.
Because I don't
But
think it's entirely necessary. If you're like pretty decent at the game, you don't need.
right.
Well, yeah,
but-
because I stated that already of the idea that the game is 100% completable without
Right. I was gonna say,
this, so yeah.
I think maybe a more concise way to get my point across is it depends on the game's margin of error for the player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because, like, with a fighting game, it's competitive, and your margin of error is however the difference is between you and your opponent's skill level. At your disposal, and if you don't know about a tool, but your opponent does, they'll probably win. But if it's a game, like I just said, getting over it, notoriously difficult game, very little room for error, you want all the tools you can to win. Mario 64 is a children's game. You can get by and not be great at video games, so you can get by. I don't know. I think that feels like a more concise way to say it. it depends on the margin of error for the player.
I think it's well said.
It's just funny because like it's a very reasonable response. Like not that I was expecting like yelling or screaming or anything like that, but it's just
I couldn't think of a good joke to make out of Mario Kick.
No, I know, and it's just I don't know. It's just like yeah, that makes sense. It just makes sense of like yeah.
It just works.
It
Just
just
works.
works.
Yeah.
Because if it was a thing where like in order to beat the game you had to do it, then that would be a problem. But it's not, so it's fine.
Yeah. It's not even a thing the game is particularly more difficult without, I guess. Or I guess it's still a very, very reasonable difficulty without it.
Unless you're Aaron Hansen, because Aaron Hansen's bad at video games.
I don't know if the jump kick would have helped him, period. I think he probably still would have waffled about with it. It's wild how he's been playing games professionally.
Hey Adrian, would you mind doing me a favor?
What's that?
Would you mind checking your input sensitivity or something? Because I don't know if anybody else can hear this, but sometimes, like, not even the ends of your sentences, but just like in the middle of your sentence, you just cut out. Just wholesale.
My input sensitivity, it's all the way to the left at green. So I don't know what that. I think that means it's the most sensitive it can be.
I'm about to say that technically that means that if you're breathing like 10 meters away from your mic, it should pick it up. That makes sense. I don't know. Maybe it's just like an internet thing. Okay,
it might be canceling out noise automatically because I have a fan on.
Oh, that might be it because I
yeah.
don't hear a fan at all. So maybe that's it. All right. It's fine. I'm about to say we could just continue talking. It was just something that I noticed, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we don't. It's who are we to? Not that it's talking about someone on high, but like who are we to be like, oh, Aaron Hansen is like bad at Game Grumps and he should really be better at this point. It's like, well, yeah, that's been said a million ways to Monday. So
yeah, but
really
no one said in our voice.
No, it's true. No one said it as Chatot.
Yeah.
Oh.
No one said it who has a Discord name Zemnis. Never mind. You look on the Grumps hate Reddit and it's like, oh yeah, Zemnis Ouchie 412.
Yeah. You finally said it.
Which, by the way, Adrian, I don't know if you saw or if you care to join it, but the Opus Stream community Discord is available.
Is it different from this Discord?
Yes, this is theoretically the community Discord that people who, because there have been a handful of people who have like showed up to stream being like, hey, do you have a community Discord? So now we have one.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's why he's telling you. That is the point of what Zach has just said.
Which is fine. I just wanted to bring it up because Saba and I spent a lot of time getting this all working, and it ended up being pretty good.
Working about it. It's a Discord.
Well, because we had to get like bots and permissions running. There was a lot to do. It wasn't exactly just nothing.
How many bots did you need?
2.
2 gods.
Oh.
Well, it was
Were they
more
hard?
like permissions and like
It wasn't
rules and stuff like that.
extremely difficult. It was just a lot of stuff to do. That's all.
Fair enough then. I have one bot on my Discord server and I didn't even do anything. It just plays music.
Hey, Rhythm Bot.
People ask it to. Yeah, Rhythm Bot.
I got that on my server too.
Everyone's got a fucking server.
Everyone's got a server.
Did you know that everyone's got a fucking server?
I was against making my own Discord server for a very long time because I was like, man, all my friends have them already. What's the fucking point?
So why did you make yours?
Because I run multiple D&D games and wanted one place to organize all of them.
Ah, fair enough.
Like, I don't use my Discord servers usually as like a hangout place. It's like, okay, I want to consolidate all my D&D into one place. So,
Yeah.
that's my reason. What's your excuse?
Well, you caught me. One of the servers is just for hangouts.
Ah, you
I can't
fool!
believe this shit.
Oh no!
I can't believe you casual Discord user.
Yikes.
But then I got a second server when I
You got a
tutored.
circumcision?
I got a
Oh my God.
circumserver.
Oh my! I got a second server for tutoring some dudes art. And by some dudes, I mean some friends.
I was gonna say just the one, or okay. When you said some dude's art, I thought you meant there was one specific guy, and you.
No,
shared
it
a
wasn't. It
single
wasn't dude.
It was a Discord server with just the two of you, and it's like, why is this in DMs? Like, I want an entire server.
Yeah, it was dudes
Yeah.
without an apostrophe. So
You're like,
dudes
there's not
plural.
enough rooms with DMs. It's like the janitor's closet. Let's go into a class or make a Discord server.
Do I have enough?
You do not.
Oh, holy shit. Man, working really makes you appreciate being able to lie down in your bed. Holy crap.
You can see that again.
Working makes you appreciate lying down in your bed.
I knew it! I knew he was gonna do it!
Flash! You can see that again.
Wait a second. Don't I know you? No, it's Lawrence in the mustache.
Yeah. So next
Man, I can't think of a cool paradox name to put for my Opus stream Discord.
I just went with an easy one.
Isn't that misspelled?
Yes.
Oh, was that intentional?
Vaguely.
Why is that?
Because why would I do the real one?
I
Why
don't
not
know.
why not misspell it?
So the reference is clearer?
But it's the Fermi paradox.
Fair enough, I guess. I'm trying to keep track of like slurred contractions that I'm very fond of because they're very subconscious usually, and I'm realizing just now that "was-at" is probably one that I use a lot more than I think I do.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys know of any slurred contractions you use?
Consciously, it's difficult to remain conscious of that sort of thing, I find.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's just your natural dialect that I'm trying to note, but yeah,
I mean,
you never know when it will come out of your mouth.
well, I don't know.
What's
What are the
gonna
ones
come
that
out of
you
your
noticed?
mouth?
Alternative.
Alternative?
Coming into someone's mouth.
No.
No.
You did
TOS, TOS!
it.
Cancel Zach.
No, not again.
Don't look up
No, for a third
Longstar.
time.
We need to keep this PG-13, please.
Oh
I
my
can't-
god, dude. I watched the first 10 minutes of the Mitchells versus the Machines, and it was pretty good. And then I got pulled away to play soccer with 3 kids.
Aw, dang.
The Mitchells versus the Machines was pretty okay.
It's pretty good. I thought it was gonna be filled with too much like millennial humor. Humor. millennial humor or
Millennial
something dumb.
humor.
That's my
But,
favorite variation of the Wojak. There's the Doomer, the Coomer, and the Hoomer.
Yeah, but it's pretty good. I gotta say, it touches along my kind of humor.
I really liked what I
enjoy it.
saw of it. Too bad I got pulled away to play soccer
Fucking
with 3 kids. And then they
Soccer
played
with 3
football in
kids.
the soccer court, which doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, you should finish that because pretty good. Even has like
I like the animation a lot.
animation's good, and even like some of the story is very well done.
Dude, I'm surprised at how much they're so far.
Yeah. And then to our thousands and thousands of fans who are watching us right now, you guys should watch it.
To To our thousands and thousands of fans
Thousands.
that are watching this right now, at the end of the movie, and then edit a spoiler in here.
At the end of the movie that I saw the first 10 minutes of. This is gonna
Josh,
happen.
future editor Josh, can you put in a spoiler for?
Oh shit! Now I gotta hire a guy named Josh.
Yeah, you know, Josh with the arm tattoo and the face piercing on the
Oh
eyebrow.
no!
Yeah. He looks pretty intimidating, but he can talk about games all day long.
He weighs 400 pounds, but has actually got a BMI of
Oh
18.
my gosh.
Oh no.
What a monster of a human being, I guess.
He's 9'10".
Oh my god.
My statement remains true.
He's got feet instead of hands and hands instead of feet.
9'10" at 400 pounds. Is that light or heavy?
I don't know. Quick, put that in a BMI calculator. Figure it out.
Yeah. I gotta put it in a BMI calculator. It's like, who the fuck is 9'10"?
He's also famously afraid of puppets. That Josh.
It's true. That's
Oh,
why
Josh.
It's true. That's why I made him play that Five Nights at Freddy's game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you made him play that one section in
Did I
what's it called? It's not Inside.
ever show you guys the first piece of concept art
Oh,
that I
the
actually
other one
made?
inside.
Yeah, the other
I
one.
remember.
First piece of concept art you ever made?
Well, for an actual thing that was made not just by me, I guess.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It was in, I want to say like 8th grade, like late middle school, late middle school. Or no, it was in high school, but I think early high school. Long story short, it was like a creative writing class, and every week we were in groups of like 4, and every week we had to come with a story and present it in class. And pretty much everyone in class just like came up with like a few paragraphs, like a snippet of. But my group, we wanted to be the wacky ones.
Ooh.
As in, it was mainly me coming up with ideas because I thought that writing was boring at the time. So one that we did was, I was like, all right, let's make a sock puppet theater. And I drew concept art for sock puppets that were going to be characters that were being played. And some of my friends in the group made the sock puppets, and it was pretty cool. I gave one of the sock puppets little marble boobs by gluing the marbles to the inside of the sock.
Kind of delightful.
That's pretty
I guess.
good.
I kind
Yeah.
of like it.
Yeah. It probably
that.
looked worse than I imagined it in my head, but it was amusing enough that high schoolers thought it was kind of funny.
You're like,
Unbelievably
if
easy. We didn't have to do fucking anything because the teacher was a total pushover, so we kind of just did whatever we want. We ate all the time in that class and they weren't supposed to because he didn't give a shit. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, sounds like a 8th grade teacher, all right.
Lawrence, did you figure out what's his face's BMI? What did I give him? What name did I give him again? John Jones.
You call him Josh.
You said Josh.
Josh. Did you figure out Josh's BMI, Lawrence?
Oh, I didn't. Hold on.
9'10" and 410 pounds.
All right. 9 feet, 10 inches, 400.
It's impossible. It's not gonna work.
What does it
20.
say?
Their BMI is 20.2.
That's not far off
I
from
guess.
what I said.
Yeah.
But that's not underweight. That's like average, isn't it?
Yeah, that's about average.
Oh, there's another one, by the way.
yeah,
I've been
normal
adopting
weight.
the British innit
In it.
In it.
because it's less work than isn't it.
In it.
That's true.
Yeah,
Innit?
it makes sense.
Anyway, but yeah, Josh is like scrawny. He should eat something. Hopefully not another human. Like
He should eat something.
Hopefully not another someone like they did last year.
He's pretty solidly in normal weights. Who knows? He might be like super buff.
I don't know.
You're making this job position impossible to cast for.
All right, we'll put it on LinkedIn. Looking for a video editor. Josh, height 9'10", weight 400. Like these are not job requirements.
That
I
sounds like
think you could
that sounds
put
like
on
my
LinkedIn.
that sounds like my dating profile.
I mean, have you ever successfully catfished anyone with that?
Catfished.
Oh yeah, I forgot that Zach is very fussy about his name being spelled a specific way. You would think that spelling Zach involves a Z, but it's actually spelled Josh.
It is not
Shut
Jacques.
up.
It's just Zach,
That's-
not Jacques.
Can I fix that? Oh, I think I can
But I forgot that. I could actually be like 10'9".
I'm not looking
10'9"
forward
is
to having to
so
find this
tall.
Josh one day.
Oh, who said that you'd
I
find
am.
him?
Oh fuck!
Finds
Oh
you.
shit!
Oh.
We didn't hire him. He kind of just showed up at the office one day. You know,
Yeah.
the office we have in the main square of Tokyo.
Yeah.
In the main, yes.
The main,
That one,
like
you
right
know.
at the cross section where people walk.
Yeah, that famous
it.
cross section, like one of the most busy cross sections. The office we built in the middle of that four-way intersection where cars constantly almost crash into us.
Yeah. They keep yelling at us because it looked like we came out of nowhere, but here we are.
It's actually just a paradox.
I was gonna say it's actually a porta potty, and I'll be honest, it's someone should clean it, but I'm not gonna fault anyone because it's really cramped here, fitting all four of us in here, and there's not a lot of movement, so we can't exactly clean it right now.
5 when Grant's here.
I mean, yeah, it's always a relief when people leave, so we can actually, you know, hit oncoming traffic, or get hit by it, I should say. The safety of the porta potty.
Yeah. Thin plastic protection.
Why are we talking about condoms?
I really like all the
God.
I really like all the preposterous predictions I'm making for Stream's future.
I don't appreciate it.
Oh, well, that's because you're hoarding all the company's wealth to wear your fucking golden brick shoes that weigh like
I
40
got
pounds.
69 cents to the stream's name. What do you want from me? You want me to split
the
69 cents?
Only that's the liquid. Everything else you've consolidated in this pair of golden brick shoes that are literally just Lego bricks that have holes shaped like your feet.
They
carved into
have
them.
feather falling, and because they're gold, the enchantment lasts longer. All right?
Oh my god.
Jesus.
All right. Well, anyways,
You
after
don't
the
know. We might
streams-
need this. What if the plane crashes or something?
All right. I forgot that
Right.
we also have your private chat.
What do you think? You think we're just gonna like buy parachutes? Parachutes are not reusable.
Listen, I trust Abram, our monkey pilot's piloting skills like no other.
I don't like Abram the monkey pilot.
Flying your private jet.
I love him. I do not know who he is, and I do not know how he got here, but I
I
love
mean,
him.
that's why you hired him, isn't it?
No,
Not yet, anyway.
I
Yeah.
hired him for the tax write-off, but now that you mention it, this was a really good idea in retrospect.
Abram, the pilot monkey, and James, our video editor.
Josh.
Josh, fuck. Well, James is our other video editor.
I have
He's
two.
He's like Josh, but he's like 5'8".
Wait,
about
are you sure? Are you sure the other one
pounds,
isn't
and, you know,
named
he's
Drake?
normal.
Drake and Josh. Funny.
Drake is our butler.
I thought that was the monkey.
No, the monkey's the
No,
pilot.
No,
Oh, the monkey's the
Well,
pilot.
even if the
I'm
monkey's
sorry.
the pilot, where do you think he learned all the butler skills from?
From Drake in the 99
Drake.
Dragons.
By the way, are we keeping all of them on payroll? Because I don't think it's very sustainable.
I don't know if I could trust your business acumen, to be fair. You're the one who recommended Josh.
Listen, we have to meet our
We had to,
diversity quota.
like, you're the one who recommended that, like, Josh showed up, asked for a job. I was like, I don't know. It seems like you don't necessarily fit in around here.
Like,
And
listen,
then you, Adrian, started going nuts, being like, you can't just discriminate against somebody. Of course he fits in around here. And then he comes in the next day, and we have to replace all the fucking doorways because he's 9 foot tall. And I was like, and I look at you, and I'm like, I meant it literally, asshole.
Yeah, all the doorways in our porta potty, all 4 doorways that are on each of the walls.
I hate the
And by the
porta-potty
way,
walls.
listen, we have to meet our diversity quota of genetic freaks, okay? That's why you're still around.
I hate this. I hate everything.
Well, I mean, listen, the alternative, do you want us all to move back into your mind palace?
Oh,
Oh,
no!
guys, remember when we were the board of directors and stuff, and we had meetings for each of us to.
To be
you know-
fair, we're talking about the future here, where we eventually accrue enough wealth from Stream to move out of the mind palace and into the porta potty office in Tokyo.
So for now,
I
we're
was
just
so
stay
happy.
here.
I was so happy to have forgotten about the Mime Palace.
The mime palace. We also
can't
have a
skip the
mime
mime
palace as well.
I'm gonna
It was more
kill
like
you.
it was more like a mine house, to be fair,
Ah, okay.
or a mine studio apartment. Oh, this is very good mental imagery. Man, I can't wait till Opus Stream is so successful that we can afford a private jet and solid gold brick shoes, but we still stream from a porta potty.
Wait, would the
Sure,
mime
this is where
palace
setup
be
is.
all in black and white?
No, it's all the colors from the end of that one game that you played. It wasn't Superliminal, but the other game.
Manifold Garden?
Manifold
Yeah,
Garden. Oh,
that's those are the
okay.
colors. They're constantly shifting unless I take a dump that's really big in the toilet, in which case that area specifically is very brown
Oh no.
Yikes!
and,
Yeah.
and a little green.
Oh.
I hate this.
Anyway, I'm just listen, my job entails me being very stoic around kids all day, so I'm kind of just like flooding out right now.
You're just unleashing everything.
I can tell that you're flooding out. The porta potty can barely contain it.
Oh, yikes!
I mean, listen, we're full circle. We're reminded now we're in the bathroom of Tokyo's heart.
Now we're in the bathroom of Tokyo.
It's a good thing you foreclosed every single other bathroom in Tokyo, so we could have that title, Zach.
Not Neo Tokyo, is it?
Neo Tokyo is in the
Capra?
sky. It's out of our jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
Neo Tokyo is in the sky.
No, wait. What is that? What is that place called? Let me.
The bylaws of the sky laws are too
The
complicated for us to really
bylaws
get
of
into.
the sky laws.
We don't really have the law department to deal with that. Legal is struggling ever since. Ever
Do
since.
we have jurisdiction over Yakuza?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Ooh,
I want
Saba, we're
that.
not supposed to mention our ties to the Yakuza on stream. That was part of the deal, remember?
Oh, yikes!
Now they have to cut off one of my paws.
Oh no.
I'm
No.
sure everything will be fine. I'm sure.
Adrian
sure.
cut off slightly, but I really hope that Adrian said I have to cut off one of my paws.
That is what I said.
that's what I-
That's extremely funny. That's really good. Oh, I didn't grab. I'm an idiot. Dude, this game puts me in a trance. I don't know if you guys have been listening to the music at all, but it's a lot.
I have. It's very good going manic music.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this isn't like brain drain, like, oh, I'm gonna die type music, but it is music that makes me feel like the world is about to collapse around me.
Oh no. It's good
You
old
gotta make
brain
all
blast.
that money, Zach, or it will.
Man,
Or what will?
The world will collapse if you don't make enough gold.
Oh no.
I wonder how many absurd things I've said this stream so far.
A lot. And we're still counting.
we're still going.
My meteoric skyrise in the last hour of the stream.
Yeah.
Saying bullshit.
I like Skyrise. It's a good word.
It is a good word. Almost as good as it's almost as good a word as the phrase the bylaws of the sky laws.
The bylaws of the Skylaws is also very good, I agree.
Too bad I don't have the legal depth to deal with it.
Is Oh, legal department. Understood.
Ever since Ash
Can you
and the
see what
Dragon
I'm
ate
trying
all
to
of them.
do at this level, by the way? Like, does this make sense? Does this look like it would work?
I'm lying down fully, and my body is completely devoted to saying bullshit.
I don't know what's going on in game.
Same
Well,
with me,
no,
Zach.
actually,
It's
that's
all
not
you.
true.
I'm about
I
to
have,
say, you guys default to, I don't know what's happening really often.
It's true.
Yeah, that's why it's a default, Zach.
This is
I-
a complicated game.
It's
Zach,
not!
you are overestimating your crew's competence. I figured you would know after 78 years of working with us in the future.
I knew
After
that
so
this would
much
happen.
experience.
I figure you will know. You will have known. Ugh, tenses.
Okay, close that. Let me go back. Grabs it. No! Which one are you doing? Number 2?
If they were like big showy sparkle effects when someone did some time magic, would you call them participle effects?
Why?
Because they're not particle effects, they're participle effects.
I guess that's literally true. Are you okay? Are you are you well?
I'm not at the computer. I have my headset on. I'm fully lying down and just devoted to spouting bullshit right now. That's what my brain's computing at.
What a high level.
Listen, Zach, they can't all be winners, okay?
I'm not asking them all to be winners, but I am asking for forgiveness. Like, please. All right, next banter topic. Do you guys think that you could spot an AstroTurf meme? Are you guys even familiar with what an AstroTurf meme is?
No.
Is that opposed to a grass meme?
So astroturfing is a term that's used in the modern era to mean, like, normally you can have grassroots campaigns, right? That means that it's like a campaign for like social services or whatever that came from the people in the local area, right? That's what it means to be a grassroots
Oh.
campaign. An
I think I see where it's going, yeah.
An AstroTurf campaign is where a company or the government or whatever pretends to be a grassroots campaign in order to try and trick people into thinking that they want what's best for you.
Right.
So,
The election recently.
more or less. So the thing is that I have actually seen over the past like couple months on Twitter and on Reddit and stuff like that, I think I have seen AstroTurf memes where a company like Disney will try to create a like lukewarm meme and get it like rolling, where like people, like, it's not like the Disney account posts it, it's like somebody who works for Disney has a throwaway account and they post like a meme from Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi, and it's not very funny, but like 100 people upvote it really quickly because they're all bots.
Right.
So, as the title says, do you think you could identify an AstroTurf meme?
I feel like,
It's,
to throw a random number there, I feel like I could do it 65 to 70% of the time.
It's a pretty high number, actually.
I'm gonna just go with an even lower number. I'll probably notice it like 10% of the time.
So 10% of the time you think that you can identify when a meme isn't real and it's made by like a company in order to try and get free marketing for their thing.
Yes.
You have disappointed me again, sir. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I ain't looking at memes and being like, I wonder if this is actually.
Saba, what's
You
your...
should.
I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh or not.
You should be thinking about this shit though, because it's like, I'm not lying, like companies really do this.
Saba, how do you
How
feel
old
about your
is-
mimetic acumen?
Mimetic acumen.
Saba?
Baba's muted, so we shall wait.
Well, Zach, what's your estimate, Big Buster, huh?
I overthink things chronically, so I am pretty confident that I don't even know, like an unreason. Oh my god, I don't want to do this level. I fucked it up.
Oh no.
My whole evil scheme was to do this, and it didn't work. It's fucking. Anyway, I feel like I could recognize an AstroTurf meme. I want to say like maybe 60% of the time.
60. A little lower than Adrian's.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about it, and it's just like I think I'm definitely not as close to Lawrence, but I am sort of in the same ballpark as Lawrence, where it's like normally when I'm looking at memes, I'm just like doom scrolling through like an infinite Twitter hole or whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll be like, but sometimes something will catch my eye, and I'm like, that's really weird. Why would people be making memes of something that literally came out today? And why would it be on like normie Twitter and not like fan Twitter? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Twitter.
Like how would it already be here?
There was that one.
It took the Omni-Man meme fucking 4 months to make it to normie Twitter. I highly doubt that this Shang-Chi meme made it here in a day.
There was that one conspiracy, or maybe not. I don't remember what the status of it was, but there was that one thing going around where a bunch of like black or person of color Wojak showed up, and people were like, "Oh yeah, this is a Russian plant," and it's like, to
That sounds
what end?
nuts.
Like you know the basic like literally like paper white Wojak meme where it's like crying or sad or whatever, happy or smug. Like
Yeah.
there was just spontaneously a bunch of variants of those appeared where they like had like black skin and like, you know, afro or kinky style hair, and apparently they were like supposedly part of a Russian plant to insert themselves into the culture through this harmless Wojak, I guess, that didn't even have like it was literally just Wojak but black. Supposedly.
Yeah, like why?
Was a conspiracy.
How? Like, I mean, I get it. I guess in the sense of like people wanting to be like Russia is like infiltrating in whatever way, but also like why?
Right, because like this doesn't serve a purpose. It's just more variations of an existing meme.
Which I mean, to be fair, thank you. It's like kind of neat, I guess.
I don't know, but yeah, that just reminded me of that. How that was a big thing I heard about recently. But yeah, you are not immune to propaganda, as they say.
No, I am.
I fell for it the other, like a few months ago when there was that voting proposition for like rideshare companies. I slapped myself in the, I facepalmed so hard at myself after the voting ended because I realized I totally like bit onto all the advertisements on YouTube I saw where it was like a bunch of drivers being like, this bill is good, and I was like, oh, that looks good, and then after it's like, wait, why did I see those? Because money, and then I was like, oh, paid for by DoorDash, and then I was like, oh, stupid.
All right. Well, I mean, is that like? No, I guess that is propaganda, right? Never mind.
Yeah.
No, yeah, because I was just thinking about it, where it's just like that just seems like you got tricked, but
yeah.
But
those are both true.
Well, because like when I think of propaganda, I think of like, you know, government or corporate like marketing that's designed to like change how you perceive or think about something. But then again, I guess that's literally exactly what just happened on that voting proposition, where it's like normally you'd be like, hell no, but because of these ads, you were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I literally got bamboozled, and I was like, damn. That's the first time. That's the first time I think I've ever consciously, or like very shortly after, or maybe even at all, realized that I fell for propaganda. Because I probably had before, but that's the first time I was fully aware of it after the fact. I was like, oh, god damn it.
Oof.
Does anybody want me to give you a summary of the story so far?
There's a story?
Yeah, there is. There's actually a
There's a
really
game?
there's actually a really deep story.
How many characters are there?
Over the course of the entire chapter, I want to say like 20.
And how easily can you describe each of them?
Good callback. The basic over-under of the story so far is that we are an asshole who just so happens to also be a childhood, or not
Fucker.
childhood, like a young adult prodigy in the alchemy school. And so right after graduating from essentially this world's equivalent of alchemy high school, we got picked up by a very rich family. And the very rich family immediately started taking a lot of the shit that we were making and investing it into war funds and stuff like that. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're kind of moving on to, is the idea of we're now talking with big important people about whether or not we want to help participate in war. And because we're an asshole, we're gonna say yes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one game that was released a good number of years ago, like and Jacksepticeye played, where it was like a cookie clicker type game, but there was story revealing that you were selling your limbs or something over time, and it was really dystopian towards the end. At the end, it realized you're in this big facility. You take an elevator down and go see a pen pal that the government's killed or something. It was an indie game.
I mean, I need you said it was a clicker?
Well, it was styled after a clicker where, you invest points to make the number go up faster through different quote-unquote mechanisms and stuff.
I can't say that I recognize that just based on that description alone, but if I were to find the video, I could probably check it out and name it, but I off the top of my head, I can't say.
It had an end, which I think is not the usual for clicker-type games.
Typically, no.
The end,
yeah.
Yeah, the ending was once you get a certain amount, you just leave, and then there's an ending where it's really sad or something.
Where it's really sad, I think.
And, yeah.
Maybe. I think it was kind of sad.
My memories are very bad, so...
I'm assuming the friend's memories were bad, too, since he died. I fucked it again. No.
Alright, I'm gonna get up now.
Okay. We have 7 minutes left in stream, so it's fine.
Very cool.
I don't know. I want to be very real. This game was a lot of fun to play, and I was really excited to show everybody, and I'm glad that, Grant and everybody enjoyed this. But this brain. See, further evidence of what I was about to say of this game immediately kills my ability to banter. It's because there have been several times where I've been trying to talk about my banter topic, and as soon as I start talking about it, I'm like, but what if I do this though? And they just start going back. Okay. What's another one? What's a final banter topic that we could talk about? Once again, less of an actual banter topic and more of just an anecdote to share, I guess. The paradoxical nature of big advertising firms and the services they entrap. So, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention at all or anything like that, but Hulu, Netflix, and a couple other, even YouTube and whatnot, have just been putting out just general advertisements looking trying to field the market for advertisers, small time advertisers, local businesses and stuff like that, instead of just companies like Coca-Cola and Ford and all these big companies. And it's really funny because the main reason why they're doing this is because large companies are extremely dictating what they can and cannot have on their services. Yeah. And suddenly all of these things are yeah, maybe this isn't a good thing. maybe we worked ourselves very cleanly into a hole and we should not do that anymore.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Hey, why can't I do that? That's not fair. It has 3 exposed sides. That's cheating.
You have 3 exposed sides.
I do.
Ooh.
At all times.
This bathroom stall has 3 exposed sides.
Damn it! Again.
I gotta send Grant the bathroom stall clip.
Sure. The more funny clips, the merrier. When I eventually do another compilation.
That segment got intense.
It did when you started yelling about Josh.
First equal to higher.
Yeah.
But yeah,
9'10" tall,
the actual banter topic of me talking about this like little anecdote was just like I don't know. What do you guys feel about that? I guess not that there's anything to really feel per se, but
Can you relay the beginning of the thing again? I caught the tail end of it, but I was looking at something during the first part.
Long story short, streaming services like Hulu and Twitch and YouTube and Netflix and stuff like that have been running advertisements looking for local advertisers as opposed to just big name brand advertisers like Ford and Coca-Cola and stuff like that, because these companies are starting to realize like, oh, having to like bow to these companies every time they don't like something on our service is really frustrating. So what if we did something else? And so there you go. So the statement is, I don't know. A, it's just an anecdote, and B, what do you think about it? I guess.
I think that they've been hoisted by their own petard, I guess.
That's kind of my opinion as well, because I don't know. Like the like obviously the like initial statement in my mind is like, "Lol, you get what you deserve," but also like, I don't know. I do think it is kind of silly, the idea of a company like Coke threatening to pull advertising on something like YouTube. Basically single-handedly created the Kappa incident that happened earlier this year.
Oh yeah, that existed. Fuck.
Yeah, that was a whole big important thing that happened.
Hey, remember SOPA?
No, what is that?
No.
You don't remember SOPA?
I don't actually. What is that?
It was like Proto Kappa, like 10 years ago.
I don't recall.
10 years ago was a long
It was
time.
the Stop Online Piracy Act, introduced October in 2011. And it was basically a massive anti-piracy act that was going to infringe and really impede most streaming services at the time, which was basically just YouTube and Netflix, as well as any amount of like indie blogs or whatever. It basically destroyed the concept of free use, and it was thankfully voted down, but Kappa was kind of its resurrection a little bit. This happened 10 years ago. There was a song I really liked that was written about it. It was a rap song I thought was pretty good.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
neat.
Oh, fucking
It's called the, it's
Pretty
called the
fucking
Sopa,
neat, you guys.
it's called the Sopa Cabana. Was the song.
Sopa Cabana. All right.
That's not far from how it sounds to the chorus.
Alright,
it's
you gotta have to share it then.
Okay.
Yeah, just put it in.
Well,
Put it in on air.
that'll be the last thing.
So
before the
while
stream,
you're looking that up, or maybe not now, but like while you're looking that up, I guess I wanted to take a brief moment to figure out with you guys what we're gonna be playing tomorrow, because we're doing another chill stream.
Alright.
It's gonna be the last chill stream for theoretically several months.
For the rest of our lives, we are going to be bound.
I mean, you
Never to
make
chill
I mean, you make
again.
jokes, but there's a lot of stuff that's coming out that's like important.
Well, I know Ace Attorney is gonna be rather busy, so we can't do banter, but also for Pokemon?
Well, there might be some downtime in Pokemon, but there's gonna be a lot of like me talking about strategy, I guess. Trying to do like
Alright.
live commentary type stuff. Not the whole time, but like, Pokemon still comes out in like November. That's still a little bit of a ways away. But
Alright, fair
I don't
enough.
know. Do you guys just want to play like Dorf Romantic, I guess?
Sure.
Yeah, Dorfromantic is cool.
We could do that.
Your homework for the stream is check out Sopa Cabana by Dan Bull. I think it's a pretty good rap song about a relevant political topic. Well, it was back in the day, and it was when Copa came out, but now it's a little bit less relevant, but still fairly relevant. Relevant, because I keep saying it, and then now it's lost its meaning.
It lost its meaning.
relevant.
Oh no.
Okay.
All right.
I think that was good. Good
Yeah,
stream,
alright.
everybody. Despite the fact that I feel completely lost and like I didn't really do much on stream, there are a lot of bits that came through on stream today, from evidently VTubers to Poison to something about porta
Paradoxes.
potties. Yeah, paradoxes. Oh yeah, we created the paradox pals.
That should be our tabletop RPG name when we make a board game. It should be called Paradoxes and Porta Potties.
Paradoxes and porta potties.
It's like Dungeons and Dragons' shitty cousin.
I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Cousin. All right.
Right.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right,
Night,
goodbye,
everyone.
all.
Good night. Change the world. My final.
Good night, stream.